And I had to try to put it in and try to get some historical understanding of why they wasn't practicing in the field. Why did they just kind of publish and just produced work and try to translate some of their thoughts and ideas directly to the people, like Dr. Joseph White was saying. And what I had to understand, and whether fully understand it or not, that's different, is that most of the things that they were introducing around new psychological analysis and interpretation of trying to create a tool to diagnose and treat and work and define Black people, they didn't have any peers. There was no peers for them. There was no, we're going to introduce a new form of looking at psychological methods from a Black perspective. And then we're going to submit it to these colleges and say, observe whether or not this is scientific, observable, or there's evidence around this or not. They didn't have it. They didn't trust it. And I think for them, their departure from the American Psychological Association was that they felt like they had to do take uh, uh, a radical dissection from them and start having conversations amongst their own peers, their own self. Now, did that substantiate them to be able to bounce things off themselves and say, you read certain people like Dr. Summers, when we read like I don't read as much Dr. Nobles as I should have, but I read quite a few of his stuff. Agbar, Kenneth Clark, Dr. Mamie Phipps Clark. You know, some of their work is that they were still translating models from general psychological methods and just trying to introduce these cultural avenues to inform their work. Some of it was them stretching and trying to reach out and even imagine what this African modality will look like in psychology. Some of them tried to have different conversations with people from the continent. Some of them never went there. Some of them did. They traveled a little later and had to reinform their work a little bit later. And so when you look at what they were departing from
Mute up, chef.
and the tradition that they was trying to introduce, yeah, some of it wasn't grounded in decades of empirical data and observation, and they was inventing something that did not exist. Before them, there was no psychology that was dedicated and devoted to the investigation of the Black experience. It didn't exist. Didn't exist in South
Before,
America, the Caribbeans, and
hold
Africa.
on, hold on,
There
hold on.
really wasn't a
I
whole
have
lot
to
of
respond to
material
you.
on that.
I have to. Right now, we gonna do a thought experiment, right? When I say self-love, I want you to give me the first 5 words that come to your head.
Okay, before we do that, let me just land. That's the piece that
I
I'm
thought
just
you.
yeah, I wasn't done yet. You had to you wanted to make your point, and I'm gonna follow you on that. But let me just land on this piece. That's the piece that I interpret some of those early psychologists from who broke away from the traditional mainstream of psychological methods, is that they didn't have nothing to draw from. And my interpretation is that they had to invent a new code of being able to do their work, understand their work, and they had to go through a period of asking a lot of questions. And so some of the stuff that they material and thoughts that they were had, they didn't want to submit it to colleges' publications. So they did have to find avenues to just submit it directly to the people. But they were still disconnected. They didn't have clinics, they didn't have research think tanks, they didn't have funding. They just had their thoughts, conversations, a little bit of books, and they did whatever they could to try to start reaching out in different theoretical ways to have different conversations around our mental health. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think so. If it wouldn't take us 30 years to come up with the best way to do self-love, and the conversation would be as quick as word association. You give me 5 words that come to your mind when I say self-love.
So what are you asking? What are you saying, bro? Bro.
My ultimate point would be how far down that list do you have to get before you say the word Africa, or would it appear on the list at all? So my ultimate point, what I'm getting at is that when it came to like self love and it came to those type of things,
Hmm.
I don't think that we were in a time where people didn't understand, like charisma and confidence, and like I don't believe that we were. I don't believe that they believe that. I believe that they intentionally inserted Africa where it did not need to, right? It's a novel idea, yes, but clearly not based on anything. And as it we got the ability to hindsight, it just doesn't really seem necessary. So you get this thing out the blue with people like I and again, like this is probably where we differ because I would expect those people to go to school and get prepared to do something else, not go to
Hmm.
school and get out of school and act like Pan African James. I don't like, to me that's a big trip. Like for you to
Yeah.
go to
Well,
get out of school and then you just start making inferences on shit that you know nothing about. That shit crazy.
why didn't
I
well
mean,
I
but
wanna
what
say something.
at
Why
the
didn't they
time they
follow
were
Sumner
this the
though?
'60s.
You brought up
But
Sumner,
that's
but why
what
didn't they
I
follow
was just
him?
gonna say. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. When you look at Wade Noble's early work, I said we know Dr. Joseph White, when he was publishing in a few different places toward Black psychology, some of that wasn't on the Africa stuff yet. In the socio-political times that they were in, they were following liberation and freedom movements. That stuff took a cultural slant in the late 60s, early 70s. Brothers started picking out they started
No, but
putting
I'm
like,
saying no, that's not my question. My question
you know,
is
they
why
mhm.
didn't they follow Sumner? Why didn't they follow Kent? Because that was before them. You like listen. I'm
Right.
listening to your argument. Now hold on. I'm listening to your argument. I'm listening to your, and I'll pass it to Haskell after this. But now to say that there weren't books, that's not true. To say that they didn't have um, places to submit, that's not true. And I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying just off Kenneth Sumner is 1920. Kenneth Clark
Hmm.
and Mamie Clark is 1940. So there were examples before them of people that followed rigor, that people followed education. This is the father of black psychology. That's Kenneth Sumner, 1920. So they didn't have to. They chose, like Wellsting chose to follow that to work with the security guard. There were examples all around her during her time that she could have followed rigor. She didn't submit this stuff because she knew she couldn't. She didn't submit it. It wasn't like valid, ethical, good work that she held on to because she didn't have the means to submit it. She knew she couldn't go into them places talking about melanin theory. She knew that.
Yeah, no,
And then on top of that,
that's a
she
little
was a
different.
psychiatrist. Like she wasn't like remember, and then also let's never forget in high school. You can go right after this. Let's never forget in these conversations because sometimes it gets lost. They weren't qualified to make biological and genetic claims, and that's what they were doing. So even if we follow the Times argument, the Times argument doesn't work because Ken is if they had it bad during civil rights, the father of black psychology had it terrible in 1920, and Kenneth Clark is the 40s. That's before the time that we're talking about that these people couldn't do this and couldn't do that. Those are both college graduates, one from the 20s, one from the 40s. So and Kenneth Clark with the doll test, um, that's something that stood the
Which they
test of
ripped
time
up.
because it followed rigor.
Yeah, but they ripped it up. The white
Even if
scholars
they ripped it
challenged
up,
that. Lord,
it still followed rigor though. He did
it
it
did.
correctly and they ripped it up. Okay, I can accept that
But what I
all
was,
day long.
but what I was responding to is that you said they didn't submit their work to their peers,
They
and
couldn't.
when they're trying to, right, that's what I'm saying. When they're trying to come up with a whole new framework to view psychology, I'm just going off of their perspective and their words. There
Uh-huh.
was no peers to submit it to. They didn't believe in the academic establishment like that. They knew they got their degrees. Some of them was trying to innovate. Some of them took on the cultural and revolutionary spirit, but a lot of them became very antithetical to the establishment. And so some of that framework informs why they never published and produced empirical data and put it on the put it on into a body of politics for it to be reviewed. Because when they submit stuff to be reviewed, it's not they're submitting it to one person. They're
Yeah, I know.
submitting it to boards. Yeah, they're submitting it
Yeah,
to
but
full
wouldn't it be
think
a much
tanks.
better argument, Mujasi, that they knew they couldn't? If we're
Say it
hold
again.
on,
I'm
Sure,
sorry.
I could
if we're
I could
saying
go with
that,
that.
yeah, if we're
Majestic,
saying that Wellston,
I wouldn't even necessarily push back against what the idea that Brass is forwarding. Because if the general thinking is that the established modalities of thinking or like the American Psychologists Association or whatever you call it at that
Mm-hmm.
time, they kind of have these fixed modalities, right? And
Mm-hmm.
here it
Mm-hmm.
is, you are saying that you're trying to innovate an entirely new paradigm, right?
Right.
Then you do know to some degree or another that this is going to be dismissed out of hand. So I don't have any issues with. I wouldn't push back against that, Mujasi. Sure, they knew that these people were going to reject it out of hand because they don't
Yeah, that's what
cover.
that's the point I was making.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay,
yeah.
yeah,
So I
but
don't. Brass,
so it,
here's, here's,
go ahead, Haskell.
brass,
I cut
brass.
you off anyway, so go ahead. Bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say brass sees that as some sort of fatal flaw, which I guess in instances it can be right because I put a
No,
Einstein quote up
what's the
about
fatal flaw? What do I see as a fatal flaw? Just so I'm clear, so I can
the
follow the
idea that
conversation.
they didn't take it to established bodies or reputed bodies in that field.
No.
Um,
That's not the fatal flaw. The fatal flaw, and then proceed. That's a flaw. The fatal flaw is the cross domain violation. A psychiatrist
I see.
practicing biology and genetics. That's
no,
the
but there's
if we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna
no,
say what the
but
if we're
see
gonna say what
that's
my fatal flaw is. I don't
hold,
know what
hold
everybody
on,
else's
Brass.
is. That's what mine is.
Brass, you're being hyperbolic, right? Because any field of study, like for instance in linguistics, right? They'll talk about genetic relationships between languages, or if you're developing a theory in I don't know, let's say some field in bio, let's say some other social science, some other field in social science. I don't know. Um, let's say philosophy or something, right?
Uh-huh.
You may incorporate something from chemistry. You may incorporate something from physics. You may incorporate
Uh-huh.
something from biology. That isn't you practicing biology, right? So Chris Wilson, she had an idea, a concept that she fleshed out, and she used a particular precept that she got from, I believe the gentleman was a biologist. She
No,
used that
she
as
got it
sort
from
of
Neely Fuller.
no. The biology guy, not Fuller, the one
Leonard
she
Jeffries.
got. No. There's an actual biologist who kind of posited that whole. I'll look it up. The melanin
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
The point being is that if I'm Sigmund Freud, for example, right? Sigmund Freud is considered the father of biology.
Uh-huh.
If he constructs a theorem and he incorporates some biological precept, from a biologist, right? That
Uh-huh.
isn't him studying biology, but that's what people in those fields do. Like
Mm.
when Frances Cress Wilson, she didn't create the melanin theory. At that time, she believed it was viable science, and so she had a matrix or a framework of an idea, and this was something that she introduced as supplemental information to flesh out her paradigm. That's not the same thing as practicing biology. Like
I didn't
like
say
y'all,
I don't mean to say practice. Just so I'm clear. A psychiatrist, one, if we're going to use the word practice, a psychiatrist can't practice biology. That's legally. So psychiatry and I may mix this up with psychology, but from what I understand, psychiatry is just dealing with mental illness and neurology. She doesn't. She may have been licensed in psychiatry, but she does not. She's not qualified to make claims about skin pigmentation, evolutionary genetics, and human speciation. You just wouldn't do it. So just so I'm clear,
No, but
because
she
by
got
that
that
theory,
from somebody,
hold on,
man.
because by that
She
theory, hold on,
didn't,
but
she
by that
didn't just
theory, a
got that from
dermatologist,
somebody.
hold on, no, but listen, it would be almost like saying a dermatologist is making up a theory about um, particle physics. So no, you can't just go from one thing to another. Now, what you can do as a psychiatrist is supposit your theory, have an idea, right, and then go get a biologist to confirm it. Go ahead. I gotta take this call. Go ahead.
I don't know how you even become a psychiatrist if you don't believe in the institution that you get your degree from. I think that's already kind of strange.
I mean,
Like,
you do it
why even
because
call yourself a psychiatrist if you don't
you,
believe in the education you got? You
well,
wouldn't
yeah,
recommend it to me.
you do it because we don't have, and we still really don't have institutions of our own, right? Now, when I say of our own, I'm speaking about Black Americans specifically. I'm not a Black American, right? But I know history and I know the present. I do know there's
Hmm.
no industry in America that, because let's face it, I don't think anybody would honestly dispute that Black Americans is a subset population, right? They have unique that you guys have a unique experience in this country that is separate from the dominant or the dominant people group in this country, right? And and
Hmm.
as such and as such, kind of lost my train of thought here a little bit. But suffice it to say, you have your own unique experiences, and you don't have control of any institutions, right? You didn't create the AMA, which is the American Medical Association. You didn't create the American Psychologists Association. You didn't create the FDA. You didn't create. There's none of these things, none of these boards. You didn't create the Board of Education. All of it was created. You have no control of any institution. So to say that, why do this outside of the current paradigm that exists when you already have an existing paradigm, it's kind of like you're begging the question. Like, it should be obvious to anybody who knows American history and Black American history why Black people would attempt to do that. I don't know how that's lost on you. Like, that's fucking me up. You don't have any institutions. Are we in consensus as far as that is concerned? Like, that is a fact, right? You don't control any industries.
Are you saying, is it a fact that African Americans don't control nothing?
Don't control. No, see, here you go.
But what
You're
do
moving
I
the
mean?
goalposts again.
I don't know what you're
Okay.
saying or why
I'm
you're
asking
saying
you
it.
a question. I'm gonna be very specific. African Americans don't control any industries in America or any major institutions in America when looking at it from a totality perspective. Everything is pretty much a niche thing. Would you disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with it.
You don't, or you do?
No, I don't.
Well, there you
I
go.
don't.
So
Make your
that would
point.
answer your question, Logic, as to why a group of people who are trying to create a paradigm and retrofit a paradigm specific for their subgroup would look to do that outside of the bounds of the already established paradigm. That doesn't mean that what they're creating is it might be bullshit, but you should be at least be able to recognize, okay, why would they even do that in the first place? You should at least be able to see, okay, I get why they're doing that. I still think it's some bullshit, but I get where they're coming from and why they felt there was a need to do that.
Of course, I see that racism was around more prevalent in their lifetime. Um, but I also see people, able to to even get more shit done, right, in the same time period and not be lying, right? Not be just making up shit. Um, Dang, I mean, I don't know. I just gotta be able to say like how I'm gonna say it. I'm not really trying to just be mean, but some of that's just like what it is, man. I don't know why I'm feeling like I'm not supposed to say it when it's like
You say
I'm
what you
looking
want,
at it.
brother. But I
I'm
think for
looking at
you,
it, and the crazy like just as like I sound odd to you, right? You sound really odd to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep it together, but it does sound. I'm not even sure why you took me down the road you took me down. I just know that you're doing it all in the attempts to defend something that is clear, like clear. And you're
here's the
almost, if
thing.
anything, what you're trying to do is you're trying to create an environment where I shouldn't be appalled by racism. That's really what you're doing. I don't know
You
how to
talking about
see it a
race?
different way.
Well, I don't know about the whole racism part. I think you're referring to like Francis Cress Wilson and the melanin theory and all that stuff. I thought this discussion that I'm having was catalyzed by the Naeem Akbar thing about creating black psychology. That's the realm I'm having this discussion in, right? And within that realm, I'm saying it shouldn't shock anyone that a subgroup in a country feels it necessary to kind of create something that's unique for their own group. You know what I'm saying? Whether that stuff makes any sense or not, that's a separate discussion. But I think when you say making it up, I think for you, them creating their own concept called black psychology is in the same realm as Malachi Z. York creating Planet Risk and Nine Ether beings. For that's the idea I get. I think for you, those two things are like it's synonymous. Am I off base there, or
Say it again.
for me, when I hear you say they made things up or they're making things up, I think in your mind that them making things up is in the same way that Malachi Z. York made up the planet Risk and Nine Ether beings, or Fraud Muhammad made up Yakub. I think for you, you're looking at making things up in that realm. Like, am I off base?
What other way is there to use he made it up
You see what I'm
other than
saying?
it came out of nowhere?
All right. Well, hey, I'm gonna let somebody else get it. So you synonymize what Wade Nobles, Naeem
You
Akbar.
tell me what you think he's saying.
Hold on, I just want to get you on the record. Like I said, I'm gonna give up the
Yeah,
mic
when
because I
to me, when he says he made it up, he made that shit up, right? So what do you
got
think
it
he
right.
what
And
you
for
think he
me,
mean when he said he made
and
it up?
for me, obviously, somebody who was educated at, I don't think he was educated at Stanford. One of the think tank that was developing the paradigm was educated at Stanford. He was educated at a college. Another guy was educated at a college, right? So these are professionals, right, in their particular field. So to think
Who you
that
talking about, House?
I think one of them went the four people. So it's Naeem Akbar, Wade
Uh-huh.
Nobles, another guy named Cecil somebody, and then there's another name that he mentioned, and he basically said over a period of time, I forgot exactly how many years he said, but he said each year they would get together and um and have these discussions, like fleshing out the paradigm or the theory of the whole black psychology thing. And I'm
Hmm.
saying logic is he's equating that to Malachi Z. York creating planet Risk and the 9 ether beings. To him, there's no separation, there's no nuance. That's a one-to-one comparison for logic. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Why the fuck did they pick my fighter and gave me this whack ass Chinese dude though?
this what he's
Against
saying,
Sugar
Brad.
Ray. Man,
What are you
He's
talking about, Logic?
on Undisputed. Can you actually see my gameplay in the
Nah,
thing?
that
No, I'm
Chinese
trying
dude
to
nice,
follow.
Logic.
I'm
That
trying to
hey, that
follow
Is
nigga
he
Logic
cold,
a
bro.
fool?
Undisputed. You
He
playing
nice,
fucking
bro.
Nigga, I'm
Undisputed?
mad as I was mad at motherfucker. I'm like, yo.
Listen,
Nah, they got a new
Hasma,
way
I
that
don't
you
know if
select
you want him
fighters.
to
You
take
gotta
you
go with
serious right
instinct.
now, but this nigga's playing Undisputed.
nah. I'm gonna let.
Like I had to.
I'm,
But listen, what
You
did
know
No,
what?
Haskell
no,
say?
I'm
Oh
waiting.
my
I'm waiting
Haskell,
till
God.
Madden come out,
listen,
bro.
listen,
Hasma
listen.
Madden
is
come out
giving
tonight. I'm
you,
Haskell
waiting for that
he's
actually,
shit,
giving
bro.
you all
listen,
kinds of information and he's
Haskell.
motherfucking
you know what it is? You know what it is, Brad?
I've been
I'm
over
tearing
here
them up.
watching
I'm
Logic
tearing them
play.
up
I
while
knew
I'm
he
not
wasn't
even thinking
listening.
about. Yeah,
I knew he
I'm tearing
wasn't
this.
listening. I
I'm
Yeah,
was
gonna
just
kill
saying
yeah,
that,
Haskell,
bro.
and I wasn't even
you
paying
might want
attention
to
to
not
Haskell.
blow
That
your
shit was
heart
crazy.
out to a nigga playing
I
video
told,
games.
told,
He's not thinking about what you're talking
I
about.
told Aunt this one time, right? Because he drive himself crazy, like
But that
having
Madden
these
dropped tonight.
having these discussions. He drive himself crazy because he's having the discussion sincerely and passionately, right? And he's reading all this shit and he knows all this shit. But I already know, like, for Logic, this is just some troll shit. So when he does like shit like that, it don't bother me because I know he's not taking. He was never taking the shit seriously. You know what I'm saying? He got his
Yeah.
pitchfork and his bottle torch, and he want to find some pseudos to destroy. Like you said earlier, Brass, he has a crusade, right? And when the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So I already know Logic not really having the discussion with me on those serious terms. So I don't take no offense to that.
You said something. I was on the phone. I apologize. Shouts to everybody in the chat. I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize I hit the live button. But shouts to everybody in the chat. Dr. Banu. Oh, shouts to Juju in the chat. She said York is a predator. That's facts. They didn't have to create black psychology though, and that's why with Mujasi I went back to the conversation of Sumner. Sumner, the father of black psychology. That's 1920. So they didn't have to create anything. So anything that they created fell out of the God. They had a blueprint to follow. And that's why a lot of times I don't accept y'all times argument per se, because y'all times argument, it doesn't, Kenneth Sumner, that's 1920. So that's pre-civil rights, a guy who was very accomplished. Kenneth Clark, Mamie Clark, those type of people. So that's a whole nother conversation, in my opinion. The other part with the psychiatry issue, I do think it's alarming in the community where all of these master teachers, and I said this to Gullah earlier, the alarming part for me is just so much. It's like as much as I'd love to give them credit, then you hear the stories of the autodidacts and the self-taught. It's like, it's too many. Self-taught and autodidact is not, it shouldn't be like a regularity in a group of scholars. It's like one or two guys, three guys, maybe out of 100. We're talking about like damn near 60, 70%. And then the ones with the degrees are seeking out the autodidacts to do their work.
The autodidacts is running the shit. Yeah, that's
and it's
among
no
the niggas who
disrespect,
went to
right?
school.
Everybody, I know y'all love John Henry Clark, and I know it hurts y'all maybe when I say this kind of stuff, but to find out yesterday that John Henry Clark didn't even graduate high school, bro, I don't give a damn what kind of reader he is. I don't care what kind of historian he is. I don't care about none of that shit. Because then now it's like I'm calling this guy a doctor because he got an honorary doctorate from somewhere. But this is also a guy who didn't finish high school. And don't bring up the times that he couldn't finish high school. See how you think I'm pissing y'all off. Do you know how infuriating it is for you to explain to me that John Henry Clark, there was a reason for the times that he couldn't graduate high school, while I got a fucking great grandmother who has a doctorate? So it's like now I'm starting to believe, Unc made a good point. Well, he made a point today that, 19 keys and some video about a hyperbaric. I don't know if you saw it, Haskell. He was asking, leave the dead alone. And why are we messing with the dead? I mean, we could be talking about 19 keys, right? And the only thing that I could think about is like, I think if y'all would have addressed some of this pseudo shit, rather than saying these was y'all master teachers and babas and sabers, we might not have a 19 keys. And if y'all want to kill 19 keys, go kill 19 keys. That's y'all job. That's what the pseudo killers do. They find pseudos and they kill them. That's I mean, I would assume at base terms, that's what they do.
Yeah, nah,
But in the
them
same
letting John
vein,
Henry Clark live is what fucked it up.
I would
For
think
sure.
that's why we get a Umar Johnson saying the same white genetic annihilation. So even though Francis Wilson is dead, white genetic annihilation is still alive, melanin theory is still alive, and you get it with Umar Johnson, who's still here. Y'all go kill the people that's alive. I'm trying to deal with their parents while you do you deal with their kids. I'll deal with their parents, and we do that. But the relationship, like I said earlier, Haskell, is they want us to stop talking about the parents, deal with their kids, while these motherfuckers is still bigging up the parents. Reggie doing whole shows on John Henry Clark and Francis Cress Wilson. Like, how is that supposed to work? How did these messages from these pseudos and racists get to 2025? Get to a young 19 Keys, a young Umar Johnson, a young Tariq Nasheed, a young Booker T. Coleman. How did these messages get to them? Because these same people that come up, rather than saying they were pseudos, was calling them they master teachers. And they sabers or sabers, whatever they call that, babas and all that other stuff. So, and this is no diss to them. I mean, pseudo killers kill pseudos. They do it well. But in the same token, I'm looking at the parents right now. I'm looking at the source of where these people come from. Y'all have, by all means, if y'all want to talk about killing 19 Keys because of a hyperbaric chamber or whatever the hell he was talking about, have at it. But I think you get less pseudos. I think you listen to the stuff Polite was saying. A lot of the stuff Polite was saying was what these pseudo niggas were saying back in the day. He just added charisma and some scamming to it.
It's the same exact. It's the remix of that shit, right? It ain't even his shit, exactly.
I don't think he came up with any new ideas. Black woman is God. That's some old shit, ain't Black woman is God.
Hold on, let me say this. So I agree with Haskell on the point of, hearkening just solely on they made it up when you're talking about doctors in their field, right? Now, it might didn't go through a peer review, but we have to give them more credence for the things that they so-called made up because of their credentials, right? They have the ability to introduce new concepts and ideas, right? Their education and their expertise allows them to do that, right? Now, whether it was fully flushed out by their peers, we can argue that. But all of these so-called psychological terms and stuff is, for lack of a better word, made up. You dig what I'm saying? So we have to be able to give them more credit than we would to say Malachi York made up the planet Risk, right? Out of nowhere, right? These views, Francis Cress Wells and Naeem Akbar actually was using the framework of their expertise to even couch the things that they made up. You dig what I'm saying? So we might not agree with it, and we might don't accept it because it didn't go through the rigor of their peers, right? To see if the shit was actually tenable, but we just can't put them in the same category with a Farrakhan or you know what I mean, somebody or polite that's just making stuff up. I think it's tiers and levels to it. All right,
Yeah, me
that's
and
my
Logic didn't bring up.
I
I
don't. I
didn't
don't
bring
think
up
we
Dr.
ever put
York.
them in that same
Haskell
category.
brought up Dr. York. I don't
I don't
even know
think
how
we ever
Dr. York
did.
got into the conversation.
I think the onus is on them because they do have those credentials and they still brought that bullshit to us. So I think that's where the issue lied at. Not that they, you know, align with the, you know, the other nut jobs that we talking about. We are saying that those folks knew better, is what we're saying.
When Joseph Greenberg came up with the mass comparison method, right? Because he said that the bilateral comparison method was too tedious and you'd never be able to compare like a large group of languages in an area and blah 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 blah. The people in his field, they rejected it. To this day, there's a lot of linguists that reject the mass comparative method, right? But he was within his rights to innovate a new way of doing things. And I asked
In his
Logic,
field.
But wasn't that
huh?
in his field? Wasn't he? That was grounded in linguistics, though, right?
Right, right.
Right. Wasn't he a
No,
linguist?
he was also actually an autodidact. He went back, I believe, to get his linguistics degree. I think his initial
Did he
degree
have
was in anthropology. Go ahead, Chef.
No, I'm
so
saying, did he have a linguist? Did he have a
anthropology,
linguistic degree? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
linguistics is
Link is
covered.
part of Anthony. Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of anthropology.
It's part
So
of
Right.
whether
anthropology.
he specifically focused in on it or not is a part of his study, right? You
Yeah,
don't. They got to know a little bit of every. You know what I mean?
yeah. He got his degree
Right.
from Columbia. He studied music. Then he shifted to anthropology and linguistics. Then he got a PhD in anthropology in 1940. He was a professor at Columbia University, University of Minnesota, and Stanford. He was a
Right. So to
member of
answer
the
your
National
question,
Academy of Sciences. He might have had
But he still put that
controversy.
comparative method back to his community and his peers. He didn't write a fringe book and try to sell it to laymen.
Yeah, he was incorrect, but they were testable
in the
claims,
case
though.
of
They were reproducible claims. He
in
did
the
it.
case of Naeem Akbar and Nobles and all of them people, would we call the American Psychologists Network or Association their peers? But those are not their peers.
Why would you say that? A doctorate? I don't know if we're confusing it, but y'all brought up psychology, so that's why I brought up Sumner and them. I know she was a psychiatrist, but don't get me to lying. I don't know the relationship between. I could look it up. I don't feel like it. Y'all can look it up in the chat or something. But I know she was a psychiatrist. I don't know. I know Neely Fuller was not. I don't know what Dr. Leonard Jeffries was. I could look it up. But the argument originally was when Mujasi was saying that at the time they didn't have anywhere to really submit this stuff in AB side. So
No, that's
in
not what he said. That's not what he said.
What
No,
did
that's
he
not
say?
what he said.
What he Mujasi, is that
He
not?
agreed.
I don't know if he's not here, but
Nah, he's not on here. But he
okay.
agreed with you, Brass, that they purposely chose not to submit it through
Okay.
official channels. Yeah, he agreed
Okay.
with you on that.
Yeah. So and then I don't mind Greenberg. I understand Greenberg, but that's why I try to couch my argument in. Listen, I understand that psychiatry is interdisciplinary. Good point, Juju. But even with psychiatry being interdisciplinary, it's still what she did doesn't fall under those terms. So even if psychiatry has interdisciplinary concepts, so it says neurology, psychology, pharmacology, sociology, sometimes endocrinology, and genetics. But being interdisciplinary doesn't mean you get to say whatever you want from any field and call it valid. You still need training, evidence, peer-reviewed research, and scientific method. The reason why her use of biology fails that standard, she never cited a biological paper. She didn't conduct any genetic research. She claimed melanin deficiency explains right behavior, a biological and evolutionary statement with no support from a dermatologist, a biochemist, a geneticist, or an anthropologist. Her statements were also not reviewed, not tested, not replicable, and based on a theory from Neely Fuller, an autodidact. So she took her doctorate in psychiatry and based it on a theory from an autodidact.
I
Now,
didn't
here's the
even
thing, Haskell. Here's
know.
the thing.
I
If
didn't even
her
know we
name
were still
wasn't
talking.
Frances Cress Wilson,
I didn't even know we were still talking about Cress Wilson. I thought we
no, no,
was
no. I
on.
was addressing something in the chat. They were saying that psychiatry is interdisciplinary, but I'm starting to realize in this conversation, Haskell, and I'm not saying you doing this. If we weren't talking about John Henry Clark, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Naeem Akbar, if we weren't talking about these people, Dr. Ben, no, fuck that, Benjamin Yochanan, if we weren't talking about Benjamin, then I don't even think we will be getting this pushback. What this is letting me know, Haskell, and I'm not saying this is you, what this is letting me know is that there are people in this time that have tied their identities to these people, and they feel like we're attacking them when we critique these other people's legacy. If your identity is tied to them, or they're your inspiration, your motivation. I saw that video Logic put in the chat, the fathers and daddies and sabers and all of that. I'm not trying to attack you. I'm critiquing a legacy and looking at a pattern of something that I'm seeing of a bunch of pseudos that birthed the community. And there were people at the time that were doing it the correct way. They just chose not to deal with them. They decided to just create their own shit. Now, I'm not, Dr. York, I don't know how Dr. York got in this conversation. I know nothing about him. But what they did was pseudo. It's the definition of pseudo. They use pseudo science, and now, Haskell, what's scary is the people that are telling us not to talk about it know it was pseudo, but they don't even realize. They feel like it's not. I saw the word this morning that what they did wasn't dangerous. I don't even. If you believe that, I don't even have the patience to explain to you how dangerous what they did was and how it's still here. And the sad part, Haskell, I land my plane, is that the same people telling us not to talk about it is the reason why these people's message lived on, to make the Umars, to make the Keys, to make the Polites, to make the Booker T. Colemans, to make all of these people. So it's not us digging these people up and critiquing them. You kept them alive by constantly quoting them and saying what they did was somehow not pseudo and not racist. You could have killed it then. So it's not our fault. It's not. I won't put that on us that we're just seeing something and we're working something out live and in real time. That's where I land my plane at.
Yeah, I'm honestly still curious to if these folks is upset about, you know, us quote unquote throwing them out or throwing them away, and they want to continue to, you know, preserve these people. Like what part of their work are you revering? Like what is valuable from their work that you want to keep so bad? That's all I want to know. I don't have no issue once somebody explain that to me. What is it about their work that you want to keep it around? That'll answer everything for me.
I don't think they can answer that question.
But then the conversation is
real
just pointless.
I mean,
Then
I don't want to speak for nobody, but at this point, I feel like their allegiance lies with the defense. Right. I don't even necessarily hear people defending like what they said. They just defending the person. Like that's to
so they
me, I
defending
feel like
somebody
that's
who
where
brought a misleading concept to the community. Like somebody make that make sense for me, please. That way I can get on the same page as everybody because I'm still
that's the only
confused,
way I
man.
can
Like
rationalize what's even
they
happening.
bring in misleading information and we're supposed to be like, oh yeah, this is okay. When many people, like Brad read off the other day that they skipped, he read over at least 10 names of people who didn't do that nutty ass shit, bro. And they are respected for that very reason. For that very reason.
And
But we
never
gotta
get
hold
talked. They
these
never get talked
select
about.
few up because man, I don't know. I'm tired of
And they
this.
never get talked about. You notice
Man,
those
I'm waiting
names,
for
that
Madden
list
to
of
come out.
names?
2 hours.
Yeah, it's about 25, 30 people I could go back and probably name 50, and none of those people are named. You just keep hearing the same. The Honorable John Henry Clark and Benjamin Joe Cannon and all these people. Like your leaders are fooling you today, yesterday, day before yesterday, last year. They're fooling you. It ain't us.
Bro, it's so many black folks that did incredible things that we still use till to this day during those same time as those motherfuckers that they revere so much. So it don't make no sense to me. None whatsoever.
No, it's
Can't
a
figure
racket.
it out.
It smells like a racket. That's what it sounds like to me. It's smelling like
People really take serious this shit though. Like that's
no, it sounds like a grift. It sounds like an ongoing grift from then to now. And it's like I'm exposing, like it's like we're exposing some kind of big secret. Chef just found out yesterday John Henry Clark didn't graduate high school. He's heard John Henry Clark's name in his community umpteen times. I mean, damn, in the last 9 months, I've heard it 1,000 times. I never heard
And
that
to
he
me,
didn't
that's not even
graduate from
really a
high school.
knock. That's not a knock on him not finishing school. You know, for him to become a thought leader without that is somewhat to a degree impressive. However, it's just the information he brought doesn't help the situation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, I get it. You overcame obstacles. A lot of motherfuckers had to do that in the time. That's not why we revere you. Like, it's what your work spoke for. Like, what is it? What did it do? How valuable was it? How applicable was it? Not did you have to overcome some obstacles? So the fuck what? A lot of people did, and I'm not saying there's no knock to that, but it's like that can't be the only thing that you revere them for. Can't be.
Mm-hmm. I guess where I place him not graduating high school, is even when you self-taught, there's some limits to that shit, bro. And I don't, and once again, this is just a critique, but when you start citing non-scholarly sources and you don't think peer review is important and you're treating myths of Afrocentrism and you espousing them as fact, it gets a little spooky. Like there's a reason you got to go to school. Like, I mean, listen, and see, you know what said? This is what I'm about to do. That's about to be crazy, right? I'm actually about to defend the fact that you need to graduate from high school. That's how silly this conversation has gotten to this point, to where we can look at John Henry Clark in the end. So I'm not going to attack the man's hustle. I respect his ability. He built a platform. He was self-taught. But if you're making these wild sweeping historical claims, and with no peer review, you're actually doing on both sides. You're making sweeping statements about white people, sweeping statements about black people. His influence don't mean that I don't gotta critique his accuracy. So when somebody is straight on target and killing it, peer review, doing it the right way, and then I find out, oh, this person didn't graduate school, it's like, damn, how the hell? That's like a brilliant story. But then when I find out, why
Yeah,
did this
even more
man,
respect to you because you
yeah,
still
why
didn't
did
get
he
it the
write
right way.
the foreword to the Iceman Inheritance? Why did he say this about melanin theory? Why did he say this about white genetic annihilation? And then I find out he didn't graduate high school. It's almost like, okay, makes sense. Like, all right. But then I can't understand how how has he survived this long? How is the melanin theory still here? And it's because you keep holding him up in this high reverence. So I revere him for his
because you
resistance.
still can't touch them, right? Yeah, I'm gonna go after Keys, and then somebody else gonna run into John Henry Clark tomorrow, and they're gonna be another.
And then we got a whole nother 19 keys.
A whole nother 19 keys off the same nigga. Right? See, yeah, man. It's like I know who getting. I'm gonna do the Baltimore, right? I know who got the dope, right? I'm gonna go get the nigga on the corner, and I know who gives it to him.
Oh my god, man, this
No,
is
I'm
too.
telling you, it's so silly, dog. Then look, and I don't take this the wrong way, Haskell. You've been jabbing at me all day, and you kind of deserve this shit anyway. And you get nigga like Haskell who try to reinvent what they made it up mean, nigga. Like what the fuck you think he said when he meant what you think he meant when he said he made that shit up, bro? Out of thin air. That's exactly what he means.
When
That's
you
not
say
what.
they made it up out of thin air, I want some clarity.
That's not
So,
what
so
that
when
means.
you say they made it up in thin air, because you're going to get attacked on the point. So at least
Yeah.
get on a very clear
Okay.
point. When you say they, who is they? And when you say made it up, what is the it that you're talking about? So that
Okay.
even I understand.
So
You
so
know,
the it isn't black psychology. The it would be the version of black psychology that they gave you. Because you go today, you're gonna get some scientific epigenetic version of black psychology. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna get this. We gotta be African centered, wear dashiki, and do the. You ain't getting that. That's what I'm saying. The it is that they made up. That we gotta return to Africa, do to Egypt, and all of that is giving you the psychological benefits that the real world black psychology today is giving you. That's what I'm saying. They made that shit up.
So can you give us any specifics
I
dealing
just
with
gave
those?
you a couple of them. Egypt, Africa.
No, but
I just gave it to you.
you said that speaking of Naeem Akbar and Wade Nobles and
If you go to your
uh,
psychiatrist, if you
hold
go to
on,
your
um,
psychologist, he
hold
is
on,
not going to mention no goddamn Africa, nigga.
Logic, hold on, brother.
All right, bro.
So I'm asking, what can you give me a specific? Because you said that they kind of
How much clearer can it be? Well, all right, go
y'all
ahead.
gonna end up
What's your
arguing,
question?
bro. Go ahead, Haskell, bro. Go ahead, Haskell.
no, I'm not. I'm not.
No,
I'm
no,
being.
it's
I'm
just
gonna be
I
real
know
patient.
you, bro. You got a meter, and it's close. Just go ahead,
Oh,
Haskell.
he getting there.
Just
His
go.
ignorant
I
meter
know this
gonna
ain't.
run
Listen,
over,
I
man.
already. I met Haskell when he was on tilt. You laughing at all that shit. He down the street from it. So
You got your antenna. Your
just stay
antenna
right there,
is
Haskell.
right
I
there,
know.
bro.
I know it's tough. Just
No,
y'all
no.
try to keep
When
it
I
safe.
say specifics, right? So I'm speaking specifically about Wade Nobles, Naeem Akbar, that whole little think tank, right? You said a kind of a absolute statement that they said that you have to wear a dashiki and you have to say Egypt.
I said that jokingly, right? So all of this that you need to be connected to Africa some kind of way for you to love yourself is absolutely what they was pushing, and that isn't something that is substantiated,
Okay,
right?
that's
Like
just
in
your.
science,
So
and
that's
that's not what your psychologist is going to use on
what
you
I'm
today.
saying though. You don't have them
So
saying that
so
explicitly.
so so imagine being in
That's
the 1970s, and then you go to your psychiatrist,
number one.
and
I'm
this
saying
nigga take
logic.
you to Africa, bruh.
But logic, what I'm saying, it seems to me like you just this is just your own conjecture. Like you putting a straw man on these people. Like you're
I mean, what
saying
did I
that
say
you
just now that wasn't true? That wasn't accurate. Real shit. I'm gonna slow
know,
down because
I'm
I
asking,
might be running faster than you right now.
yeah, this idea that you have to be Egypt and you have like you're saying, can you show me where one of these gentlemen said that? Can you provide any sort of
Doctor,
evidence?
are you serious, gang? All right.
You said you
So
said that
so
they were
so
pushing the
the
idea
entire.
that
I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you an example. One example is that the entire foundation of Afrocentric thought is based on Cheikh Anta Diop's conference in Cairo, where he asserts that um, that the Egyptians were Negroid in phenotype because, and he's there because, right, his reason for doing that is to validate dark skinned people's contributions to the world, right? Like whether that was done there or not, that's what it's about. Like that's what the movement's about. That's what it's all about. So if that's what it's all about, like, and you're asking me a question like that, like you're way more lost than I am. Like That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So if a group of people believe in their heart of hearts, guys, excuse me, that orienting their kind of this kind of thought matrix, right, that they're developing, and they believe that orienting that around Africa um is vital for like kind of, bringing that whole thing together. That's a different thing than saying any specific individual, you need to be African oriented to feel good about yourself. There's a nuanced difference. You get what I'm saying?
Hey, can I
So
can I
they,
can I say this one thing? Can I say this one thing? Because
Well,
I'm gonna shoot
real
you some
quick,
bell
Fetty,
hat.
just
So
like
you
I'm
you
gonna say
making some
something real
good points.
quick. I'm gonna say
Logic,
Y'all
something
you are
just,
real
yeah,
quick.
yeah.
logic.
I
Hold
just
on.
want to
He gonna
remind
he
y'all,
gonna
y'all
try to
both,
railroad you.
y'all both are now
Pause.
cutting house gloves. Let him finish.
Oh, y'all been
Go
all
ahead,
right. Go ahead.
Fetty. As soon as he done, Fetty. As soon as he done,
Oh, I thought you
let
was
him
done. Go ahead.
finish his statement because he waited a long time. Let him get his shit off, and then
yeah,
y'all
yeah.
can
No,
have
I
it.
was just saying, it's a difference, right? So I could feel that it's important to because here's the thing that was motivating them, obviously, and to this I will agree with Logic, right? When it comes to education in the West, right? Everything is oriented around Greece and Rome, right? Those are the two states that are given primacy and are basically seen as the genesis points for what they call at that time and still today Western
Western
civilization.
civilization. Mhm.
Right. And when I heard Naheem Akbar, I listened to a portion of the interview that Logic posted. They were absolutely coming at it from that standpoint that okay, we want to present something kind of that same methodological framework, but instead of orienting Egypt and Rome, we're orienting, excuse me, instead of orienting Greece and Rome, we're going to orient Egypt as having provenance and then build out from there. So it was basically like the obverse of what Western society was doing. So we agree there, but I do think there's a difference between doing that and saying that, hey, you Logic, you have to wear a dashiki and you have to say Egypt to feel good about yourself. I think that's a disingenuous way to, it's disingenuous and it's dismissive to break it down to that.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't. Because that's what he said. He said it's about self love, right? He said it's about empowerment, and he said he made it up. Like I'm not sure of how I could be messing up what he said by repeating what he said in some kind of way. Like what he meant better. Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know what you like. Like he said it.
Let Fetty get. Let Fetty say
All right, let me say
whatever he
this
got to
one
say.
thing. This is a good convo. I actually agree from the perspective that like on both sides. I see what Haskell is saying, but Logic, you tripping me out right now because we had a conversation dealing with African American history and in your opinion regarding the importance of using Africa and shit like that. So even though you're not an expert, you was expressing a lot of the same sentiments that these quote unquote Afrocentrics was saying. But in a new convo, it's like your whole ideology or philosophy is switching up now. But in certain
Yeah, well,
conversations, you was making an African argument. So much so you said we
what I say?
you say we need Africa to make from a psychological perspective. You was emphasizing that we need Africa in 2025.
That sounds
Hmm?
just like me.
I
I
don't
say
know,
that every
man.
day.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about. Hey, happy late birthday to Stu Peas and Sosa.
So I'm just
I think
confused.
they're
That's all.
happy
But go ahead.
belated.
I
Yeah,
think Logic
I'm
is
not sure what
saying
you're
that
talking about.
he
I
may
don't
say
know.
we may need a larger grasp on maybe African history, for that self whatever worth that we apply to it. But I don't think he's saying apply things like makeup, biological statements on whole races. I don't think
Yeah.
that's nah. But the
What he's
fact that he would lump them with
I don't
other people that rather than understanding that they was making hypothetical frameworks, which was
yeah.
wrong.
I don't agree with lumping them with the other people that we be saying
Yeah,
it.
for sure, for sure.
I'm actually more I think we stay the course when we talk about the people who actually did get somewhat
credentialed or degreed in some of these fields, but still out here messing it up. I think that's a bigger obligation on their part that needs to be addressed. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
another
So
thing that he
so
said. Let me
go
be quick. Another thing that he said is that he felt as if we couldn't trust white institutions, and they were trying to work on making their own. This is what that's really kind of like all about. So it all lines up to me. It's saying as far as them making it up, like I'm really not surprised. So I'm not sure if I'm not being clear about the part that I'm saying where they insert Africa into it, and I'd like to clear that up if somebody has it
no, I'd like to
confused about
so when you say made up out of thin air, if y'all don't get Logic's point, just listen to this point. I want to just give you some of these claims. White people are genetic recessives who fear annihilation via black genetic dominance. Claim melanin is tied to moral behavior, spirituality, and superiority. No biology, no genetics research, and it was based on Neely Fuller Jr. That's Francis Cress Wilson. John Henry Clark, ancient Egypt was fully black in the sub-Saharan sense and that it birthed all world knowledge. Claimed Greeks and Romans stole all their ideas entirely from Africa, rejected the need for peer review, openly said history should serve politics, relied heavily on secondary sources, anecdotal claims, or Afrocentric reinterpretations with little or no sourcing. That's reconstruction, not history, made up. Benjamin claimed the Vatican has secret knowledge of Black Egyptians, claimed Moses was an Egyptian pharaoh, claimed Jews were originally Black Africans, and frequently mixed religious myth with historical assertion, citing no archaeology. Reconstruction made up. These ideas, bottom line, that's Benjamin.
Dr. Ben.
No, just Benjamin. Bottom line, yeah, Benjamin. I'm not calling him doctor anymore. I'm done with that. It's Benjamin, if that's his actual name. These ideas weren't, so the bottom line is these ideas weren't just alternative interpretations. They were often asserted as truth without evidence, no sourcing, and no academic vetting. That's making it up. Even if some elements were loosely inspired by older ideas, the way they packaged them and presented them, they presented them as though they were science and fact, and it was not based on any established discipline. Another thing I want to clarify too, and I had to look this up because I know Francis Cress Wilson is a psychiatrist, but y'all keep saying, I don't know how we got onto black psychology, but this is not, none of these people were psychologists. They didn't publish in psychological journals. They weren't trained in experimental design, diagnostic practice, or therapy. They were cultural critics, orators, and historical polemicists. So when they started making claims about Black minds, white pathology, or genetic motivations, they stepped into psychology without training and no science, no foundation. That's not Black psychology, that's ideological mythology. Clark Wilson and others were not psychologists, and much of what they claimed was made up, speculative, or pulled from fringe sources. There was no scientific method, no sourcing, no peer review. Black psychology is a real field, i.e., Kenneth Sumner, Kenneth and Mamie Clark. 1920, 1940s. But they were what Clark and Welsing were doing was cultural myth making with a political goal, not a scientific goal and not a clinically psychological goal. So when we're saying they're making up, they most certainly were making things up. And the crazy part about it is that y'all somehow think, not you, Haskell, I'm just speaking in general because we got an audience also. You somehow think that we're making the claim that they were stupid, but I almost now think that y'all think they were stupid. Because it's almost as if y'all don't even understand that these people had the common sense to not do this dumbass shit. She didn't have to go to an autodidact and go get the melanin theory. She had a doctorate in psychiatry. She could have just done her job. She didn't have to start diagnosing the white race and Black race and all this other weird ass shit. John Henry Clark didn't have to write the foreword for Iceman Inheritance. He didn't have to do all of that stuff. They didn't have to. So the fact that they did it, I think our concern is like, why? And then my second concern would be, why are y'all still talking about this shit? Like
Yeah, my
like
bad.
y'all
It's my
why
bad. I ain't
why
tripping.
why is John Henry Clark held in all this? Listen, I get it. He didn't graduate high school and he became whatever he became.
Yeah, I
Bro,
get the overcoming obstacles. We understand that. I
right.
just want somebody to tell me what part of their work are you revering that we should keep it around and hold these people up in the positions they've been held up in. Please just explain to me why we should be doing that. And then the conversation can move forward. We already done figured out they, you know, did things they weren't credentialed in. Some of them didn't graduate X, Y, and Z. Please tell me why today in 2025 we should still hold on to these folks' work. Please, somebody just lead me in that direction.
Hey,
Please.
check this out. Check this out, said. So Babylon Dunn, outside the box. Shout out. He always watches the show. I appreciate his support. He said a doctor, i.e. Francis Cress Wilson, Dr. Neely Fuller,
Neely Fuller, he's a wild dude.
whole life work on a ChatGPT sentence is diabolical. All you say on the panel is opinion or subjective. The fact that
That's the
they
fact.
thought
This
no,
is
no,
my
listen,
opinion.
listen. No. But don't
It
stay
is
right
what it
there.
is.
What it when you look up Neely Fuller,
We got the
right?
NO. Let's
When you
go.
look up Neely Fuller, the fact that you just said Dr. Neely Fuller, that's the part, that's literally my irritant. I'm gonna assume Babylon Dunn is an intelligent person. I'm gonna assume that he's a contributor of society. The fact that you think that Neely Fuller was a doctor means that apparently you these are the people I guess I'm talking to, not to the high schools or the jujus or the unks who apparently know these people were pseudo, just take it for what it was. Or I don't really want to speak for Juju. I don't know his stance on that, but he had no. Now you said don't chat GPT to diagnose him. Let me just put. I put Neely Fuller was a doctor? Question mark. Neely Fuller had no formal academic credentials in psychology, psychiatry, biology, or history. He was a self-taught, autodidact, functionally literate child. His core idea was that white supremacy is a global system. He developed a code of conduct for non-white people. What he was not is a doctor, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a biologist, or a historian. He never earned or claimed any recognized degrees in any scientific or academic field. So the fact that you don't even understand that Frances Cress Wilson, who was a medical psychiatrist from Howard University, heard a voice from her heart, and I'm not making this up, she said it, heard a voice from her heart that led her to a Black Power meeting. And she heard this autodidact, self-taught person say race is a system from across the room, and she decided that that's her life's work and what she's going to do. Now, if this
Okay.
was
Why do you
2025,
have a
y'all,
problem with? Why you got a problem with that? Let me tell you.
oh,
Let me tell you
yeah, all right,
something. Let me
yeah,
tell you
okay,
something.
all
Right.
right,
Let me
no,
let me
no,
tell
no,
you.
no.
Nothing wrong with it, bro.
Let me tell you something.
If that's a serious question,
Hold on.
Oscar,
Let me tell you. No,
I
it is a
can't
serious question.
even. Okay,
Listen,
okay.
I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you an example. Right. A guy that I brought up. A guy that I brought up in another discussion. Kerry Mullis. Right. He was he a biochemist? Something in those realms. Right. And I brought up that he had got the Nobel Peace Prize for inventing the PCR method, right? The polymerase chain reaction method, right? If you read up on that guy, you know how he came up with the PCR method? He was on an acid trip, right? He was hanging out with his chick, surfing, doing crazy white boy shit, doing acid, and the idea came to him. I say that to say this, right? Before there was ever such a thing as formal education, there were philosophers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's such a thing as originating thought. That isn't to dismiss formal education. Why formal education is important is because It's the sum total, right? It's the sum total of man's of what man has learned and achieved over a large amount of time, and it's way more information than one particular human could ever accumulate in a lifetime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we come into the world, we have the benefit of for lack of a better term, standing on the shoulders of all this accumulated human knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that isn't to say that that is like what's the word I'm looking for, like the absolute, and if you don't have that, then you're just, your thoughts ain't worth shit. The
Mm-hmm.
point being is a lot of educated people, they develop ideas out of the most desolate of spaces you can imagine,
Mm-hmm.
because like Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. And that don't mean just coming up with anything. Oh, humans can fly and blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
Einstein
It's
didn't make nothing up
No.
without
Say it. Hold on. Say it.
empirical
Let him
things.
finish, and then
I'm
we'll
just
take
saying
the
those
rest.
are false
but
equivalents.
what I'm saying, like the
Oh yeah,
example I
that's where
gave,
I'm at too. I just want to
the
let him
idea
finish
that I
first.
gave about Buddy being on acid, right, and coming
Mm-hmm.
up with that shit, is because him being on that acid, according to him, it put him in a different space,
I agree.
right? As far as imaginative wise. Now, him having the foundation of being learned in science, of course, that contributed to it too.
I was
Because
wondering when you
if
was gonna
you
get to that,
right, if you was
because he was
somebody
a
who,
biochemist.
I believe so, I gotta look. I think he was a
He
bio.
was. He had a PhD in biochemistry.
Right,
He had years of lab experience, and what he invented fell right smack dab in
right.
biochemistry. Not a
Here's
psychiatrist
here's the
doing
thing.
biology and genetics.
Here's the
So the
thing.
comparison ain't the same.
Here's what I'm saying, Brass. When she heard him say racism is a system, that's not her saying, "Oh, I just found a homeless nigga under the bridge and I just built my whole shit." No, she's saying that him saying that for her,
Mm-hmm.
it sparked,
Made her go put biological applications to it. It don't help the story.
The homeless nigga
No.
wasn't
Let him,
under the
that's why I said
bridge. He
let
was
him
in the
finish.
barbershop.
No. That's why I said let him finish. Finish.
but don't Chef be saying some brilliant shit? He be in the
He won't
barbershop.
finish, and he won't say brilliant shit. Like we just keep letting him go.
I disagree. Shit.
You're going in and out, bro.
Yeah, y'all can hear me?
We
I can hear you
go
now.
ahead. Say something.
Hold on. Let me get those good. Let me get those right quick. No, what I was saying was Chef be in the barbershop and he come up with some brilliant shit at times.
Yeah, but when he don't, he just, Chef ain't even an example because Chef will tell you the heartbeat when he fucks up. I'm just a barber, bro. He don't start making shit up. Like if he fucks up, he'll stop and realize, like,
Bro,
yeah, I'm
they
just
keep leaving out these folks did book tours,
no. Yeah, wait,
seminars,
wait, stay,
speaking
stay right
events.
there.
Just
He
spread
told us
this
to pay
shit,
for
Stay
that
right
man.
shit.
there.
Stop acting
No,
like
stay
these
right there.
people was
Not
just
if he's
out here
done.
just like, man, I'm fighting a good cause. Like, man, come on.
That's why I know.
Man.
That's why I know y'all not listening to us. We're
Like,
listening to
that shit
y'all,
crazy,
but
man.
y'all not listening to what we're saying. So
They downplay
I'm gonna use
all the
Kerry
effort.
Mullis as an example. Kerry Mullis, yes, he took LSD, and he had a PhD in biochemistry from UC Berkeley. He had years of lab experience. He invented the PCR, a tool that is reproducible, peer reviewed, tested across the world, and used in real science. So even though he took acid, his discovery was rooted in data and lab work. His tripping didn't invent PCR, his training and testing did. Here's the difference. Wilson and Fuller made claims with no testing, no data, no scientific method. Fuller, no degree, no lab, no data, no peer-reviewed journals, no studies, no citations. So even though Mullis was an eccentric, it doesn't pass Wilson and Fuller because even if you know what's funny about all of this, Haskell? Me and Said have both also said when y'all brought up, not you, but when the conversation was brought up comparing Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, do you know that we said we would have backed off this conversation if she was right? If the shit was eccentric and she fucked up, But at the end of it, she won the Peace Prize. But if the
What
melanin theory was somehow correct, or the fucking, or the white genetic annihilation, if you could somehow prove that shit and it ended up, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. Is that? But hold on, last thing, I'm gonna land my plane. The other part about the racism, that race is a system. I have no problem with Neely Fuller, uneducated or educated, saying white supremacy is a system, because that's valid. He wasn't wrong. But when you then add all the pseudo shit to it, you're making excuses for the white supremacy being a
what
system.
pseudo shit? Oh, you talking about
No,
the
because
melanin,
here's
the
the pseudo
melanin
shit.
stuff.
No, here's the pseudo
Okay.
shit. She says she heard him say race is a system. Now we'll juxtapose white supremacy as a system. We'll agree that this unlicensed barber that was a security guard at the time, Neely Fuller, was correct that race is a system. Fine. But then when you add that white people are genetically recessive and fear annihilation, melanin governs your intelligence, morality, spiritual power, white people's behavior is based on the subconscious fear of black genes. Once you mix the truth about a power system and then start making myths about genetic morality, this is where I get angry with her. Because at that point, you took a truth. White supremacy is a system. And rather than start looking at the power, the education, the redlining, the actual facts of white supremacy, so you could actually deal with it, or maybe the average layman could deal with it, or make it
Have you read
easy, break it down.
Have you read
Hold
her
on,
book?
wait. Let me finish the sentence. And then you can say, well, just rather than making it something you could fight, she turned it into some mythical bullshit and made it more powerful than it actually was. She made white supremacy something you could easily see as power, inferiority, school. You can see all of the system of it. But then when you take it and apply all this biological and genetic shit to it, you start making people feel, in my opinion, that this is not even some shit you could actually address because they're born that way. Like, how do you fight that? That's like, I don't like when people say white man is the devil. How the fuck do you fight something you put close to God? You could just say they're humans.
Make peace with it.
Now
Right?
they're not humans at this point.
And
Now
we
you
just
turn them
skip,
into
we
some
skip
mythical.
over it.
Right?
We
But
skip
you
over the
can is the
entire
point.
fact that there was biologists and black geneticists during her time as well studying shit. They knew not to go near that shit. They knew. Like we ain't gonna act like she was just so out front, a pioneer in this shit. Like, bro, nobody else was gonna put their hand on that nutty ass shit, but we supposed to still keep it today. Come on, man. That shit wild. Super wild.
And like Corey said, she didn't get it peer reviewed. If y'all call academia at her time the white folks, then she didn't take that bullshit to them. She didn't give it to academia. She didn't make it peer reviewed. She didn't test it. She didn't falsify. She didn't do none of that shit to them. But you know what she did do? This is where the redeemable qualities come in. She took that bullshit and handed it to black people, who at the time was in the middle of Black Power. They were ending with the Vietnam War. They had some frustrations because civil rights didn't bring the economic justice they was looking for. So now these are people that needed, like, oh, them motherfuckers are savages. I don't understand why racism is. Oh, let me go to this Francis Cress Wilson speech. Let
I
me go
thought
to
we
this
was done
John
with
Henry Clark speech.
Cress
Let me go
Wilson.
listen to what they're saying. And then you leave thinking that they're just biologically, genetically fucking insane. This shit didn't help.
Trying to figure out, everybody saying she worked. Everybody know that she was wrong about all this shit, but we should still keep it. Won't nobody address that, man? Please, bro. It's getting fucking frustrating, bro. Like I'm about to literally wait a month out and for
Who
this
said
topic
anything
to fucking
about
go.
Who said anything
No,
about
he's not
keeping
talking
anything?
about
Nobody.
this. Wait, no,
What the fuck is the conversation?
subconsciously.
We ain't talk about keeping it.
you and Mujasi just started the conversation today, but we've been actually a part of this conversation for about a week now. The
No,
funny thing,
I've been here.
So
Y'all
don't
been
keep it. Don't
going in
tear it down.
on
Just
Cress Wilson
what?
for.
about you. That's what
Let
I'm
that
saying.
shit just run wild. That book is a
I
bestseller.
would, I would be lying. I would be lying to everybody the panel if I did not say subconsciously. I agree with her. In my subconscious, I agree with her. I don't care what anybody wants, how pseudo it is or how pseudo it sounds. subconsciously, I agree with her.
Okay.
Scientifically, I might not be able to prove it, but subconsciously, I totally agree with her that these people cannot be normal. That them can't be normal, and there must be some reason behind them abnormality. No, do I run with it everywhere to everybody? No, but subconsciously, I agree with her.
Okay.
And a lot of people hitting out on her say, why shouldn't they take it to the white man to let the white man dispute whether or not he's less than or more than?
Well, she's a scientist. She's supposed to take it. Well, I use white folk loosely, Stoopies. But she's a scientist. When you start making scientific claims like that and you start espousing it as a science, even if she wasn't qualified to do it, that's like they're at a different level. They're not these niggas on YouTube talking shit.
Listen,
these are doc. She's a doctor. When you start saying melanin theory and espousing it with your credibility as a fact, they don't. The people you're talking to, and I don't mean to disrespect them, but the people that you're talking to are unscientific and laymen's. So they don't know that what you're saying isn't true. They don't know that what you're saying is correct.
I view her theory. I consider like I'm a carpenter. I have many tools in my tool bag. I use her tool as that beware of these animals because they're not normal. And then the behavior that exude over the last 400 years since we get in contact with them has not been normal behavior. It has not been normal behavior.
When you say not normal, can I ask a question? What do you mean?
It's not normal behavior.
No, what do you mean by that?
By not normal?
Yeah.
What I mean by not normal?
When you say white people aren't normal, I just want to know what you mean by. What do you mean when you say that? Like,
when I say that they are not normal, for clarity, I said there have been a group of people who had no problem leaving from their islands in England or leaving from their places in Germany or in Scandinavia, and with the thing with only or in Denmark or wherever they leave from, they always have conquest on their mind, and wherever they go, history has shown that they tend to want to conquer people who lives there. They never want to live alongside or within unity with any other groups. And wherever they choose to go, the group must be the superior group. And we have history to show that. Whether they want to be the Aboriginals in Australia, whether they want to be Kipling, the white man burden, that poem that he wrote for the Filipinos, that the white man, the reason why the white man exists is to civilize savages. So this group of people have always seen other people as savages. And that is not normal human thinking person behavior. It's not. And nobody can justify that any behavior for the last 400 years since these people acquired ships good enough to traverse the world has been normal. No. So I tend to agree with her that these people must be something most psychologically wrong with them.
So
I don't consider them my equal. If you want them, if you want to consider them your equal, I have a problem.
That's fine. But let me ask you a question. Right. And then Haskell take the conversation away. I asked you to explain your theory and your concept for a reason. Now I'm gonna make you Dr. Stu Peas.
No, right? No. What you're doing now? What you're doing now?
No. This is a question. I don't mean literally. Just follow me. Okay. You know I wouldn't disrespect you just randomly. This is a question. Now you're Dr. Stu Peas that graduated from Howard University, right? Now this is a hypothetical. Would you think could you have that theory subconsciously? Cool. I just want a yes or no answer. But would it be irresponsible of you as a doctor to stand in front of unscientific people and laymen's and pass off your subconscious thought to those people as a scientific fact using your doctor in front of your name as credibility? Just yes or no?
No, because I don't have any proof. But this is not yes or no.
Premise. No, it was just a question. That was my only question.
Let me just say this.
You can explain your answer, but that was my only question.
Yeah. Let me just say this. People have always come up with premise A premise is an
Right.
idea that comes up. It starts with a premise or a thought, and then you build on it. And from a premise, you develop a hypothesis, they develop a theory, then it might become a scientific theory. Everybody in universities all over the world always have premise. A premise is something that people make up. So when somebody say, I made it up, nothing wrong with that. He had a premise. When somebody say, oh, he said he made it up. People make up shit every day. 10,000
logic.
university people make up shit every day. That them, but them don't say they make it up. Them say I formulate a
I
premise.
formulated a theory. Yeah, they put flowery
No, not
language
a
to it.
theory. A premise, because a premise comes before a theory. Right? Hundreds of tens of thousands of university people formulate premises every day. That's basically the nice way to say, make up shit every day. So when somebody says, oh, he said he made it up. Nothing wrong with that. He made it up. It was an original thought. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with expressing an original
That's
Yeah,
thought.
that ain't science,
That's
yo.
that's
No,
This is
it.
crazy.
that's how
Well, no,
science starts, dude. That's how
right. It's a
science
part of
starts.
it's a part of the process. Now,
It's
easily,
a
what you
part of
can
the
do is
process.
what you can do is says, you know what, this didn't have any viability. Let's get it out
Yeah,
of here, and
yes,
leave it
no,
at that. Because when Freud, and he's considered the father of psychology, Floyd posited that every boy, every
Before you take us down the rabbit hole,
hold
that
Well,
on,
process
yo,
that
hold
you're
on.
talking
When y'all
about
come up with these thoughts,
of
you still got to
vetting,
get it tested, though. You don't just
hold
you
on.
don't
the
just be like,
process of
yo,
vetting
hey,
of
y'all.
verifying it,
you
yo,
got
No,
you,
it starts
that's
with
what
a premise.
that's where
you put it through the
right
rigor, bro.
right the part that comes out on the other end of that is where you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
but where it
That's what
starts?
we
But
need.
where it starts? Where it
Yeah,
starts? That's the question.
right.
Where it starts?
So don't give us the
But
premise.
you won't
Like
go
send
straight
it
to
through the
making a
rigor
book
and then
about
give
it.
us the shit. Like give us the shit that come out the rigor.
Actually, call your mother.
You don't
Yeah.
go
So
make a
when
book about it right away and then
so,
put it out to us.
so,
What the
No,
hell?
no.
so I
Stop,
was
stop the foolishness. String theory.
Oh my
String
god,
theory that's been
bro, I
going
don't
on
know what's
for the last
happening
20
right now.
years.
Yes,
For string
and there's
theory for the
parts
last
of it
20
that
years
they
is bullshit
say
that nobody can
they
prove.
have explanation, and it falls short on a lot of other areas, and they're honest about that. They don't be like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
but
come
but
guess
on.
what? People
she put
dismissing
her
premises. People,
she put
people
her
in this.
hypothesis out there, and that's it. And then people can pick it apart however they want. But I
No,
think you guys are being, I think there's a little bit of
Well, she
hyperbole
left us
going
no
on
choice
with,
for us to do it. She didn't take it to academia,
yeah.
but none
But
of them did.
that's
None
just
of them
like
did. So who else gonna do it?
that's just like I was saying before I got cut off with Freud when he posited that every male child wants to sleep with his mother and every female child wants to sleep with her father, right? We look at that and we could recognize that that was just the thinking of a very depraved mind. But that doesn't stop modern day academia from heralding him as the father of psychology, right? Because there are
Okay, and then
probably
back to
other.
my point, which parts of her shit should we use? Because they obviously
I don't know.
they don't use
I
that
never.
part of Freud shit. Obviously, they throw that part out, but they use the valuable part. So somebody point out the value in these folks. Then let's shift the
the
I'd
valuable
conversation
have
to
to
part
the
is that
read.
value.
white people not shit. That's the part that I hold. The part that I hold, what she promoted, is that white people not normal. I hold that part. I hold that part dear to
So
my
so
heart.
you love the racist part.
No, it's not racist. It's to white
So
people
so
not
all,
normal.
see that's probably how it got fucked up because the requirements is so low, right? The only thing you got to do is hate in the club. That's some fucked up shit, nigga. That's a
No,
crazy ass club, gang. I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's the
no,
only. You don't need no
no.
high school diploma, right? You don't need to stay in your field that you
All right.
went to school in.
You're ready to
Nigga,
dismiss.
you could
No,
wear
you see how quickly.
dashiki. Yeah.
No. You see how quickly you're ready to dismiss what she said when she said that white people not normal. Not taking into consideration the experiences that other people have with them, not just Black Americans, but other indigenous people, the Tainos in Jamaica, the Tainos in Puerto Rico, the Mayans in Mexico, the Aborigines in Australia and other islands. You dismiss that readily. Say, oh
No,
no,
no. So
that is
Loopy,
what
just
is
people
what is a
comparing people.
normal white person? What is that?
Logic. Hold on, real
What's a
quick.
normal black person?
Let me give some
How is a
pushback if
normal
I
black
can, right?
person?
Hold on,
Right.
Logic. real quick,
Yeah,
real quick. I want to say
when you look
because
under a microscope and you look at the genes of a normal black person and a normal white person, I'm trying like what are you pointing out right now?
real quick logic.
Like
So
not the
so
specific
Chef,
differences they talking about
we
in real science. I'm like, which ones
we
y'all
was
talking about
having
right
we
now?
was
When
having
y'all
the
saying
same
white people are
discussion.
abnormal.
We was having the same
Y'all
discussion the
talking
other day,
about
right?
like melanoma?
Right, two peas.
Y'all
Hold
talking
on.
about freckles?
Yeah, hold on, logic. Real quick, real quick. So we was having
Mhm.
the same discussion
They
2 days
smell
ago or
different with you?
so with when I was reading John Henry Clark's foreword to the Iceman Inheritance, right? And I was
Mhm.
essentially making the same argument that Stu Pease is making, which is basically that yes, other groups of people have practiced slavery, have been brutal and all of that stuff. But this particular group, the Germanic peoples who we call white people today, theirs is to an exceptional and just exponentially uh crazier degree, right? But
Mhm.
Chef said something that made me think, right? He said that what if they aren't exceptionally more violent or exceptionally more screwed up than any other group of people? It's just
Mhm.
that they accumulated the means, right? Whether it be the weaponry, the technology, and such, to conquer everybody. Because he brought up the point of the Mongols, and I'm asking Stu Pease this, right? I want to answer from Stu Pease. Chef's basic premise is the Mongols likely would have done what the people of Germania ended up doing to the rest of the world.
That's
If
not
were
true.
not
Let me
right.
answer
What do
that.
you
Let me
say to
answer
that?
that.
Yeah.
Let me answer that. The Mongols were technologically superior to the Europeans at that time. And you need to go back in history and look at it. But what the Mongols did is that although they conquered, they formed an inclusive society. The Mongol society is one of the most inclusive society where at the beginning of the Khans, the Mongols were sheep herding, horse fucking people. And by the time the Khans died out, they were a technological advanced society where everybody was allowed to practice their own
Their
religion,
their religion. Yep.
Muslim, Christian, traditional under the great blue sky
After
religion.
they killed off a third of the population.
They
Like,
included everybody. They included everybody. They killed off people who was fighting with them. But once you
So you
surrender,
mentioned,
half the world.
so you mentioned one good thing. So you mentioned one positive thing about their conquest and ignore the murder and the barbarity that they left in their wake. That's like so let's
because
talk
the
about
English,
the positive. Hold on. So let's talk about the positive things that the European has brought to the world and see
all
if
right,
that excuses and let's see if that excuses
Shepherd,
hold on. Let's see
Let's
if
talk
that
about the positive.
excuses
Start.
hold on. Let's see if that excuses their murder and barbarity.
All
Right?
right,
Would you
let's
say
start.
would hold on, would you say the eradication of slavery damn near worldwide is what Europeans, that's been a hallmark of Europeans in the last 150 years. And
They
All
you're
did
right,
and
that
you're
because they
right.
all
were
right.
they did that
So
because they were kind of
slavery
Hold on,
was
hold on,
forceful.
hold on, hold
That
on.
was the
No,
slavery
let me
was
reason.
finish.
universal. Hold on, slavery has been universal around the world for the last 3,000 years.
Let me
So
kill him now. You ready? You
at
ready
the
for me to
time
kill
of
him?
recorded history,
No, no,
slavery
no.
has
You
been
don't
an
know history,
intricate
Sheffrin.
part.
Sheffrin, you don't know history. Let me teach you
Let
something
him
now.
finish. Hey, Stu Peas, real quick.
Finish
Stu
Sheffrin
Peas,
and
real
let me
quick.
kill him with this
No,
slavery.
2 seconds.
Okay.
Two Peas. Sheffrin said shit in 2 hours, and we're actually live on his channel. Let him get his thought out, and then y'all go back and forth. The
Okay,
nigga ain't
because
talking
they were
yet.
killing
We
with this
live on
slavery thing that
Carnivorous
a lot
Podcast.
of people have.
It would be
I-
inappropriate to like not let him speak on his own channel.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So slavery has been integral, right, in human society for 3,000 years of recorded history. So when history starts being recorded, we already have slavery. So you can't mention uh, um, a continent where slavery didn't exist. and up to 150 years ago, it's been those people who enslaved West Africans who's been the most progressive against fighting against slavery, right? So me and you both at Stoopies, our people come from the slavery that those so-called Germanic people that Haskell just mentioned, right? Engaged in, right? We're the result of that, right? We're the living result of that. But those same people, and we talk about how barbaric slavery was, right? But those same people who did that to us has been the ones who's been fighting against it. So from the early 1800s, around 1833 onward, they have made slavery disgusting for the rest of the world. So wherever you see slavery stomped out today is because of Western civilization. And this is a black man saying that. It wasn't the Africans that stomped out slavery and made it a repulsive thing. The Africans participated in it. And even when the Europeans tried to stop them, the Africans fought them. The Europeans had to bang the cannons on them to make them niggas stop enslaving each other. You feel me? All through Asia, slavery was normal, right? Europeans did that. So you can't talk about the Mongols, one part of their society as being inclusive. Yes, they did, but that was a part of them controlling vast territories, right? Yeah, they let people practice their own religion, but they had to succumb and subordinate themselves to the Khanate, right? So, and then they had to accept him as the son of heaven, the supreme person. So it contradicted their whole religion because you had to accept the Khan, right? And the Khan, it is the son of heaven or some type of son of God. Like
that's not true either. You need to read up on that. That's
he
not
had
true.
a demand.
So you're telling me never gods. The Khans were never gods.
So you're telling me that the Khanate wasn't a divine mandate?
Yeah, but he wasn't a god. Divine mandate, divine mandate.
God or not, I said that it was a divine mandate.
Yes, but that don't make him a god. You need to.
That's not even the point. I'm not even arguing that. Why would you stop me right there?
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
It was meaning he had it. It was divinely inspired, his rulership. So you couldn't even fight against it. So how could you use some shit like that to try to say that that shit was a benefit to mankind and they wasn't just as barbaric or even more barbaric than the so-called Germanic people that Haskell was just talking about? Now go.
Okay, let's start. I'm going to start from the back up to the front. Meaning that I'm going to start with the Khans. The Khans were never gods. They were never seen as gods. Every leader in every country.
Say that. I said they had a divine mandate. Don't miss. Why would you do that?
Divine mandates are nothing unusual. Even presidents are considered to have
divine mandates. It was unusual. Stop! Don't do a straw man. Attack what I'm saying.
Then why would you reach for it when most leaders in all countries, even in modern times, is seen as divine mandates? Because we pray for them before the election, and we pray for them after the election. And we asked God to help us choose the best leaders. So somebody being a divine mandate.
How our political system works? Great.
Of course, our political system worked that way. It worked that way. It worked that way, that religion, although there's a separation of church and state in the United States in terms of politics, it is still highly influenced by religion.
Yeah, this is bad. Come on, get to
your next point. You want to disregard that. But let's go back now to you saying that white people stop slavery. And you need to take into consideration the history of slavery.
Go ahead.
The history of slavery. The downfall of slavery started to happen in the 18th century, early 18th century.
I said that.
Right? And one of the reasons why it was happening is because, and I'm not talking about American slavery now, I'm going to talk about English slavery.
English
Because,
slavery worldwide,
because,
right?
yes, because English slavery was the first to be abolished. And then because the English couldn't have slaves, they also pressure former colonies and countries that they were at war with to end slavery. But the reason why English slavery was abolished is because there was a lot of rebellions happening in the colonies. And one of the greatest rebellions to happen was the Samshak Square Rebellion in St. Thomas, Jamaica. And that was
right.
And that was
but that shit got put down. Y'all got put down.
Yeah,
but so it only lasted about 12 days. It wasn't that much, but go ahead.
Yeah, the Haitians didn't get put down though.
It got put down, but because it got put down, that don't mean that they weren't now in fear that there'll be more uprising. Because you had uprising before Samshak Square, you had Kojo, you had Three Finger Jack, you had all different kind of uprising. It was becoming less profitable, and these people started to fear for their life.
Okay.
They didn't do it because they wanted
found religion. Yeah, that's not what happened.
They wanted to.
I never said that, but continue.
No, they didn't do it. And they didn't do it because of the grace of them God.
It wasn't out of the largesse, as how you're putting. Like they just, you know,
they didn't do us a favor.
There's many different factors of why they why they went against slavery. It just wasn't because of a Jamaican uprising or a Haitian.
No, but that played a major part. That played a major part.
The rules around slavery had changed in England.
Listen,
yes, it did. But continue.
Because they didn't do it out to the grace of the heart. They did it because uprisings were being.
A percentage of it was, but continue.
There was no large percentage of it was.
Got their writings. Hold on. Do you know we got the Parliament? You know what they were arguing? They just wasn't arguing that it was just out of fear that they. Man, come on, bro.
You know.
I ain't no lightweight like that. You can't get me with that.
When our people write, we call out our people bullshit. But when white people write, it come from God. It's our game. And when the white people write them bullshit, you will not take it at face value. But when black people write their bullshit, as you claim, it's all of a sudden, oh, how dare they write that? And when the white man said this,
it's a good story, man.
They were in fear of their life and they was going twek, twek, twek. Because rebellions were happening all over. And they didn't want to lose the island like how they lose Haiti.
Real quick, yeah, real quick. Not just the uprisings, but slavery had become in large, especially the British slavery, it had become
uneconomical.
Yes.
It became uneconomical.
Yes, it was starting to collapse in on itself.
Right.
It was costing, the means of production was starting to be more than what they were making, because like sugar was the other countries were finding cheaper means of getting sugar. So
and
it was falling apart.
as it was before. And the land was not fertile as it was before. So the production levels were far decreasing. So they had to figure out a different way to solve the problem that they have. They did not do this bullshit out of the grace of the heart. And then after they had to abolish their slavery, they started now to be like a reformed prostitute who said, if we can't have slaves, the rest of the world can't have slaves. And at that time, America wasn't the economic power it was today. And because of the whole industrialization and the trading of cotton, most cotton went to England, to the cotton mills in England. They had some say. When people come and say, "Oh, white people free us," white people didn't free us because they wanted to. And all of us fell in grace. I stopped that because this is bullshit. A black man really say, "Oh, white people free us." No, it's bullshit they're talking. Honestly, I'm mute because I can't believe that is what you think.
This is fucking nuts,
Niggas
just making up shit the whole time.
Yeah,
like honestly, like the fact that like, it was crazy in that conversation.
No Jamaican ever say white people slave them. We fight for that shit and we kill them.
Land your plane, stupid, yo.
So why do we celebrate Juneteenth if they ain't free? That don't make no sense.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. Like some of that's got to be just facts to build off of at some point. Like we just making up every goddamn thing.
It wasn't. I don't think any percentage of it was due to altruism, as what Chef is intimating. Not buying it. Economically, the system was. It was It was collapsing in on itself. That, and in addition to
rebellion.
that right, combined with the rebellions, it just became more feasible just to get rid of the thing. It was just a huge problem.
Okay, so if it was more feasible, if it was strictly an economic
Motherfuckers was
choice,
fighting that
right?
shit for 100 years.
Yeah, if it was strictly economics and production, right? Then why did it drag on so long? And then when it ended, if it was best for them, why did they devote over half of the Royal Navy, right? Had the greatest navy in the world, and patrolling and stomping out slavery for everybody else. If it was going to be other countries that send themselves into financial ruin behind slavery, if it was so much unprofitable, then if I became
No,
smart,
I said
right?
for the British.
Hold on, let me finish. I'll let y'all finish. I'll let y'all finish. All right, go ahead. All right, you can start back up. I'm gonna mute back. Go ahead.
All right. Why did slavery progress in the United States when other countries still was dismantling the slavery system?
I ain't answering that. I just want to finish.
No. That's the question. It's a question for me. It's not a question for you. It's a question for you. The reason why is that when the cotton gin was invented,
you asked me the question, but you're gonna answer it.
No, it's a question. It's for me. It wasn't for you. It wasn't for you.
You saying it's
rhetorical. It wasn't for you. It was for me. It was for me.
It's a rhetorical question.
Chef, ask me a question, Chef.
Man. Slavery persisted in the United States. Let me finish. Slavery persisted in the United States because of the invention of the cotton gin. Before the cotton gin, and you need to know when the cotton gin was invented, 300,000 slaves existed in the United States. After the invention of the cotton gin, 3 million slaves existed in the United States. And it wasn't more than 50, 60 years. What happened is that cotton became very, very profitable. England wasn't producing cotton. America was producing cotton. And that's why they insisted. So it was still economically viable in America because of the extent of the profit margin that cotton produced. It was a cotton gin that caused the extension of slavery in the United States. If it wasn't for the cotton gin, if the cotton gin wasn't invented, slavery would have cut off about the same time it cut off in Europe. And then when the English realized that the amount of money the Americans were making off cotton, they decided that, listen, we need to get rid of this slavery thing. We need to stop them from getting all of these slaves. Because all of these slaves might result in more expansion in those states that they captured and give them more monopoly and power. They will become the new world leader. Just like how Trump cutting off Chinese EV, cotton was the EV at the time. And that's why it was a power dynamics. It was not altruism. They wasn't happy for you. If black people never fight, that shit will still be going on.
The fact that you just compared the business of cotton and slavery to the Chinese electronic car revolution, it just shows that the art is not even. We're not even having the same.
Unless you're talking about the lithium
I'm just saying, like, that's kind of like,
ain't no way you could have followed all them last. Them last 5 sentences, ain't no way you could have followed that shit.
And white people to the Chinese EVs and Trump, like that's not even.
And then the whole thing started off with him asking Chef if he could ask himself a question.
That don't make sense. You know that.
Call a rhetorical question, Logic. Why are you always
I'm just saying, like,
Logic,
maybe
just mute out, man. Logic just be lost, bro.
Wasn't cotton the power at the time?
Yeah, but Chinese right, but Chinese EVs ain't never been as. You're comparing. Okay, so let's go anachronistic to these. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but
let's go down the rabbit hole.
Comparing the economics of cotton during slavery and Chinese EV. I don't think that's a.
Who had control? Who had control of the worldwide cotton market at that time? United States. Who have control of the worldwide EV market at this time? Who's controlling most EVs in
So you
Europe?
doubling down on that?
I'm doubling down on it.
Okay.
Because who control
I
EV
ain't gonna
market
fight
now?
you on it if you doubling
No,
down on
no,
it.
no. Who control it? Who control battery technology at
I'm
this
not.
time?
We're not
worldwide?
gonna agree.
The
CP.
Chinese.
I'm not
That's
gonna
why
fight you on it.
the
We're just not gonna agree.
comparison. And
Oh,
what
hold Stupies. I'm not letting you get away.
yeah,
All right.
I'm here.
Now I'm going to rewind it. Right. Y'all said that it was only a matter of what was it?
Economics and
Economics
rebellion.
and rebellion, right?
Yeah.
So now, right? Again, if they saying that it wasn't feasible economically, right? And it could send their empire into financial ruin if they try to keep it up,
It's the
right?
British. It's the British,
Just the
chef.
British.
Remember.
This is
Just
not a
the
Belgium.
oh,
I don't even know what we're
Belgium,
talking
no.
about right now.
God
Mhm.
damn it.
Let Chef
Leave
get
him.
his shit off. Y'all do know we on carnivorous podcast, right? I don't
And
want
I'm
to keep
letting y'all
reminding
get
y'all.
you notice
Yeah,
I'm
like
letting
y'all
y'all
not
get
even
all
letting
your
the
shit
nigga
out.
talk on his own channel. This shit's crazy.
All right,
No,
go ahead.
I'm
Go
because
ahead.
I want them to get it all out. Like I don't mind stopping. If I gotta stop again, I'm not in a rush because I feel like I got y'all. You feel me?
Go ahead, chef.
So y'all
Go
y'all
ahead,
can
bro.
leave me
This
alone.
nigga's
Y'all
fighting
Chef,
style.
go ahead. Go ahead, Chef. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chef.
are you sure? If you got
Yeah.
something else to say, get it all out.
Now we'll see a hook. We'll see a hook. And we're going to hold on to the line just to play with you. We'll grab onto the line. Go ahead.
All
Go
right,
ahead. Yeah.
all right. So it's just not, the economic strain of keeping people enslaved and the risks, what I mean, all of the colonies and all of the places that had slaves was under the same conditions. And are y'all in agreement? It wasn't just the English.
No,
Okay.
but
No.
some of the other slave colonies were out producing the English though. We're saying the
Mhm.
English were the ones who really they ramped up the whole stopping the slavery thing, not the
Yeah.
other,
Yeah,
not
and
the
y'all
Dutch,
saying it was
not
just
right.
over economics. That's one part of it. It's almost
Mhm.
like the Civil War, right? How people will argue whether the Civil War was over slavery or some people say it was over states' rights. You dig what I'm saying? Some people say it was economics. All of it. I'm saying all of these things factor into it. It ain't just one thing that leads to war. It's a multitude of things. Are we in agreement? So to act like the Europeans, that they're not human and they don't have morality, it was people arguing against slavery. We can go all the way back to the 15th century, and De La Casas was arguing against the barbarity of fucking slavery, right? So even in the English Empire, there was always people that was arguing against uh, the institution of slavery. So that definitely played. And one man in particular, what was it?
John Brown.
No, Wilberforce.
Mhm.
What's his name? What's his name? Y'all got the English goddamn history. Y'all got the English education. Is it what's his name? Is
I'm
it
not familiar.
Wilberforce? The goddamn British guy who argued in Parliament about the abolition of slavery. He was
Okay.
the biggest champion for the abolition of slavery, and he didn't have nothing to do with economics. He argued that it was wrong on the basis of fucking human decency, right? The famous picture that we all see with the inside of a slave ship, right? That drawing with the inside of the slave ship with the slaves packed in like sardines. Do you know what? We have that because Wilberforce, right? He the one who presented that in Parliament in like 1840.
You know that's Ohio, right?
Huh?
Just letting you know. Just letting you know. That's Ohio. That's the
That was
Wilberforce University in Ohio. they named the first privately historical black university in the United States after him. That's in Wilberforce, Ohio. So yes, it's Wilberforce.
Look at that. Look at God. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Bro, listen. Hey, chef, no bullshit. That's literally around the corner from where I grew up. Wilberforce University on Brush Row Road is around the corner from Garcia Drive.
And
literally
look,
where I grew up.
People wouldn't even know what the fuck he did.
Yeah.
So when people sit here and argue that Europeans ain't that their morality didn't enter into the abolition of slavery, is crazy how many people fought against fucking abolishing slavery. For us to sit here and act like, come on, bro, like that's just crazy. And I'm not saying it was all their a moral impetus, but it played a key role in it, right? It played the key role in it. You think another human being can't look at another human being and see fucking suffering? Y'all really believe this genetic shit, don't y'all?
And Chef, not only that, those niggas that went to Canada and set up colonies, one of the first colonies was called Wilberforce Colony. That's great.
All right.
Established by free slaves.
No, I'd like y'all to answer that question that Chef just said, though.
I'm going to answer it now.
No.
No,
there was a last question he just said, and y'all think it's rhetorical, but it's actually kind of damning. Y'all actually believe that white people are just inherently evil.
Yeah.
Like you think that it's in their genes,
even
though
we keep saying it's not.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it.
saying that's a personal belief.
No,
yeah.
I believe it. It's my personal
belief.
And
that's the crux of this argument.
That's a problem.
Y'all don't think that they could morally
that's what the hell is wrong with racism, yo.
Yeah,
that's exactly what's wrong with it, yo.
What if these niggas said, "Yo, we just
look at what
it's
doing to your conclusion, yo. You can't even unwind the racism to get to a firm
that gives credence to their whole argument that black people are genetically inherently dumb. The fuck? You give credence to that whole thing.
But guess what? We can disprove that. We can disprove that when people say black people are inherently dumb. But how we can disprove it? No.
I'm glad I showed y'all that this shit
argument, and I said that can be disproved. That can be disproved. And how can it be disproved? When we look at test scores of black people
because it's never been proved.
It is better than any other people. When we look at the youngest doctoral candidate in the world, it is a black person. We can disprove all of that with actual fact. No, not because it's not every German have blonde hair and blue eye. They might not express the genes, but many express the gene, the evil that they have, that I believe that they possess. This is what Stupid's believe. This is Stupid's belief, Michael Smith belief. Now, you brought up earlier, where you brought up with the slave thing, you brought up that dude, Wilberforce,
right.
When we look at all literature from white people during the time of slavery, while many may have recognized that slavery is savagery, Mark Twain, one of the greatest American writers, when he went to Rwanda, he wrote about, not Rwanda, when he went to the Congo, he wrote about it. They identified that this thing is wrong. This thing is not normal. But at no time has any writer during that time ever said a black man, a sub-Saharan African, is the equal. It is easy to identify that something may be wrong. It's easy to identify that somebody may be a man or a woman or a human being. But I've yet to read where anybody, any of these white savages during that time, ever describe a black person as the equal. That is my argument. So it might sound convoluted, it might sound wrong, but any of you can show me a piece of literature during the time of slavery where a white person ever said a black person is them equal. Something wrong with that.
That's a whole nother argument.
You know what I actually noticed about this? Hold on, because we let them talk. I don't actually notice about this. It's really not about equality. See, I thought y'all niggas was fighting for equal rights this whole time. Y'all niggas just trying to get y'all lick back. I'm starting to actually get it. But that's really fucked up though, because whole time I think that what brings black people in is the good nature, right? The good nature of the whole, like the whole peaceful Africa shit. Only kind of like end up in a space where you gotta turn violent towards white people. That's kind of wild.
Hold on, let me answer this question, though, Logic. So I'm gonna answer your question. Anthony Benezet, 1713, 1784, Pennsylvania, USA, wrote a short account of that part of Africa inhabited by Negroes, stated that black people were equal in capacity and intelligence to whites. His quote was, "The Negroes are of the same kind as ourselves, and their faculties of mind and body are in every respect equal to ours." John Woolman, New Jersey, USA, 1720, 1772, wrote essays urging Quakers to renounce slavery and argued that ownership of humans contradicted Christian equality. Benjamin Lay, 1682, advocated for immediate emancipation long before it was mainstream, argued that black people were being robbed of their liberty by violence. Thomas Clarkson, leading British abolitionist, wrote an essay on the slavery
I said
and commerce.
equal, you only show me one equal. I said equal. You said liberty for the second one. You never said equal. I said equal.
Why do you think they wanted them to? Hold on.
So what is liberty? How do you have a less equal liberty?
Why do you think they wanted them free? Because they were inferior?
Liberty don't mean equal. Liberty don't mean equal.
Since I'm doing a reach,
Darwin wanted slavery to stop too, and
since I'm doing a reach, then I'm going to say you said name one.
Yeah, and you're right.
No, okay. I named one. Wait.
And I can't see based on the one because when I was doing my study, I didn't have access to chat.
Wait. Here's two. Granville Sharp believed black people had equal legal and moral status. That's 1735. Defended Africans in British courts, including the famous Somerset case.
Legal and moral status.
Wait.
Legal and moral status is not saying that people is equal to.
So you're moving the goalpost now. You said
I'm moving the goalpost. He's moving the goalpost.
You're telling me that the moral compass of these folks.
I know that there's
equal, but they don't mean the same type of equal as
there's
you.
no source
How
I
can
can
you
give you.
delineate the two?
No.
he accepted the first one.
No, but then I just said Granville Sharp and equal. If you're saying equal, if the man fought during that time for William Lloyd Garrison, immediate unconditional emancipation and full racial equality, he wrote, and I quote, "I will not
that's two then.
I will not excuse,
if he said full racial equality, that's
a single inch, and I will be heard." Angela and Sarah Grimke, they wanted black equality, wrote and spoke out against slavery and for black equality, including voting rights. She said, "I ask no favors for my sex. I surrender not our claim to equality. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off of their necks." Charles Sumner, he's a U.S. Senator, Republican, 1811, wrote and spoke forcefully in Congress about black citizenship and their equality, was nearly beaten to death by a Southern senator for asking for black citizenship and equality. John Brown, Lydia Mary Child, Harriet Martineau, yes, white individuals before 1865 absolutely argued for black equality, not just abolition, but full moral, spiritual, intellectual, and political equality. They were rare, brave, and often hated for it, and some of them lost their lives. So I don't understand. But you know what though?
Let me rebut that. No, let me rebut that. Let me rebut that before you go any further. Before you go any further, let me rebut that. Let me rebut that before you go any further. Let me rebut that before you go any further, please.
My full statement. Let me finish.
Of course, I can rebut it. I
So
can
10
rebut it.
seconds. You said,
And I can use scientific argument to rebut it.
I'm not using a scientific argument.
No, I am going to use how scientists think to rebut it.
All white people are inherently
not normal. Not normal. Let me rebut it, please. And it takes me 2 seconds to rebut it. Scientists, although I said all, I would understand that we do not argue absolutes here. Scientists and scientific people do not argue absolute. Stupids don't argue absolute. There's always exception. So out of the 500 million white people that exist at the time, you find a few, and all of a sudden the exception break the rule.
Peas,
You
do
say,
you
oh,
think you're
I signed the
scientific? Wait,
exception, so the rule does not more longer apply. Continue.
no, I'm asking a question.
Yeah,
Do
you
you think you're
exception break the rule.
scientific? No. Just a simple question. You think you're scientific?
No, but I don't argue
Okay, so then why are
absolutes.
you
I don't argue absolutes.
why
So
you
when I say all, and nobody in
you
this
can
room
argue
argue
absolutes.
absolutes.
You're not
No,
scientific. You can most
do you
certainly
argue
make a mistake.
absolutes? Do you,
No,
Graf, do you argue absolutes? Do you want to make an argument? Do you argue absolutes?
I might say it and then catch myself. Yeah, but I'm not
But we
scientific.
don't, no, because I know that we don't argue absolutes. So although I say all, you know that you're going to find exception, but the exception don't break the rule. But when somebody find two exceptions, two white men who come up and say, oh, this is wrong, they're equal to us, all of a sudden the rule change. No, it's readily as soon as the opportunity arises where a white person can hold on a POC or somebody who don't look like them jump at the opportunity. They always jump at the opportunity because it's a nature. It's a nature of that person, that human being. It's not all dogs vicious.
No, I'm not. No, seriously.
All of them named
all
dogs.
jokes aside, please. You truly believe?
Yes.
That the only.
Yes.
I mean,
I truly believe.
You truly believe that white people are just inherently evil?
I truly believe that all dogs cannot make attack dogs. But that don't make them not dogs. I'm not saying that they're not human beings. I'm not saying that they're not human beings. But I'm saying that the nature of some breeds are different than others.
I'm not calling white people dogs, though.
I was calling everybody dog.
I'm not comparing humans to dogs.
Right? And it's not all,
right? There's a
it's not all turtle doves have the same.
That's an analogy, Brass.
It's an analogy.
But how do you use it? Yeah. Why, okay, even if it's an
so
analogy.
So he's basically saying that white folks would be the pit bull of humans.
Inherently.
Of the dog species.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's wow. Okay. I mean, I can't. There's nothing I could say to make you not believe that. So that's fine. Everybody got their own belief.
Because I have too much experience and I've seen too much experience. They've shown the colors, but anytime they get the opportunity, they've always shown the colors. Anytime they get the opportunity, they've always shown the colors. And anybody in this room can disagree with me.
So what do you? Real quick, Soupy. So Brass. So Brass, if you had to formulate a theory as to why, because like I said, I kind of I had sentiments similar to Stoopy's, but when Chef made a point, it really made me go back to the drawing board, right? Which is why I like coming on here and having these discussions with you guys, because you have certain things that you reason within your own mind, and over the course of your life, you start to become firm in them, right? And it's always nice to talk to people who could give you pushback and make you think, wait a minute, I never considered that angle, right? So Chef posits that the only reason why the European went about and kept doing what it's doing is because they had the wherewithal to do it, right? And that if other folks had the wherewithal, they could have similarly and likely carried on the same thing. And that's his explanation as to why he doesn't believe that they have like a predisposition to exceptional violence or whatever. What would be your premise as to why historically, because the historical record is the historical record. We can agree on that. When it comes to their group, compared to all throughout history, even with the Mongols and all them, they've kind of left everybody in the dust when it comes to the wilding out.
When you say they, you mean Europeans? You mean talking about Europeans?
Yeah. What do you think is the explanation for that?
The explanation for what exactly?
For them in the last, let's say, 500. Yeah, the historical record and just the exceptional level of not only the violence, but the obsession with hierarchy and subverting people's culture and that sort of thing. Things we haven't seen in the historical record anywhere near that level. What do you think is the explanation for that? Chef says it's just because they happened to get on a roll and they had the power to do it, right? And that other groups could have done the same thing, but they never accumulated that type of power. What's your explanation?
I'm not qualified, bro. Because the thing is, I would have to hold on. In order for me, how I work, in order for me to answer that, I'd have to agree
with the
with the
premise that
premise
they're
that
that they're
all white people
exceptional.
are right.
Not
I don't think
all, not all.
Yeah.
I'm
So
saying,
you're
would you
saying that
agree
they're exceptionally savage?
in
You're
the
saying, is that what you're
no
saying?
in
They
the no, I'm
predispose
saying
more than others
no. Forget the
to violence.
predisposition, because that's my explanation. My
Okay.
explanation, similar to Stupid's, is that they're predisposed to that sort of behavior, right? Chef disagrees, right? He's of the opinion that, all right, do you agree with the premise that the historical record in the last 500 years is exceptional when it comes to subversion of culture and brutality? Do you buy into that at all compared to other groups?
I'm not. Let me think on that.
Do you buy into that, Chef?
This is an
Do you buy into
interesting
that?
convo. This is
Yeah,
wild.
this is. I don't, because the thing is, Haskell, I don't agree with the premise, and I don't think that they're exceptional. Because let me say, every time I want to answer your question, right, there's something that goes off in the back of my mind where I have to remind myself, right, that human beings are 99.9% the same.
No.
And what
Remember, I'm not asking about the premise.
Let me tell you why I'm struggling with that. So because that's a premise that I do agree with, that human beings are 99.9% the same, and that race is a construct. It's not, the colors is neither here nor there, but that we're all basically the same. It would be very difficult for me to say that somehow white people are just exceptionally brutal. That's just that don't it's the 99. It's not what you're saying I'm having trouble with. It's the 99.9% the same that I'm having trouble with, by breaking that rule and saying that even if we are 99.9% the same, the white people are just brutal. And that's where I'm having
all right, let me try again, Brass.
Yeah,
let me try again, because the white people are brutal thing would be the why of it. I'm simply saying, are they the 60s, 70s Celtics of violence and subversion? Just the historical record, what they've accomplished. So a nigga got 8 MVPs, 15 first team All NBAs, that type of shit. I'm saying, over the last 500 years, are they the Bill Russell Celtics of this violence and subversion shit? Forget the why. I'm just saying of what they've done, what they've accomplished. Would you put them in the rankings? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Only read. I mean, because I go to the transatlantic slave trade and the brutality of it, but even that was Portuguese and Dutch also, correct?
Yeah, those are white folks.
Portuguese?
Those are Europeans. Yes, in Europe.
Yes.
Then I'm having trouble still. I'm having trouble.
No, I can agree with that. I can agree that they have been the most
prolific,
wise,
right?
From the late 1400s to the present day. It has been the Western civilization that's been the most violent and brutal on scale. Not that other people haven't reared their heads up in brutality also over the last 600 years, but it has been in this small slither of history that we look at, right? That set the world in place where how we see it now. It has been Europeans, so we can agree with that. We can agree with colonizing Asia, Africa, depopulating North, South America, and the Caribbean, like
and Australia.
Yeah, but
and
okay, so
Australia.
Chef, I got
Huh?
a question for you though.
Go ahead.
I got a question for you. But wouldn't that be a a power a power and technological thing versus biology?
Yes, 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 yeah.
Right.
That's
So
the
when
chef
That's what I was
argument.
getting to.
That's chef
So
argument,
saying, but I'm
Brad.
saying, Europeans, when see what I'm saying? When you have, I have an issue when you apply the biology to it. If we're
No,
No, I'm
saying that
saying leave the
if
I
they're
didn't
saying
biology
that,
out.
apply
I was
biology.
saying I was saying leave the
I applied
biology out of it.
geography, the geographical region where they're from. I said European. I
yeah,
didn't put
I think
biology on it.
because see, I know this, right? I know that everybody, if this is my concept, if I had to apply anything to it, my concept would be, if it's more of a power technological thing, because a man with a machine gun could kill 500 motherfuckers in 10 minutes. If I got a rock, I might be just as angry, violent,
But I
whatever.
can't do the
I
amount
just
of
don't have
damage.
the power and technology to do it.
That's
You
what
understand what I'm saying?
That's what Chef was saying, Brad. So
Yeah,
that's why I was
right. Okay,
asking
yeah.
you.
Then
I
I
was
would
asking
agree
you,
with
do
Chef.
you okay.
Then I agree. Then I
Even
agree
if
with
you
Chef.
throw in, because, and you know what, it made me think, because okay, if you look at World War, forget what they did to other people. Look at what they did to themselves. Like
That's
World
because
War
they had the
One,
technology to do it.
right? When you look at World War One and World War Two, the amount of fucking blood and bodies and that shit. Then you look at feudalism. Them motherfuckers was doing some brutal shit to themselves in that feudalism shit, dog. And
yeah, but I still say, like I said, I stick with that analogy. If I got a rock, I just don't have the power, but I might have the same fucking
right.
brutality. I
Do
might
you
want to
think
kill
if
everybody, but I ain't got the
niggas
power
had
to do it.
choppers and all that shit back in the
Yeah,
1400s, like
yeah,
we could have done the same shit. Like
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Let me apply
It would have
a
been up for
political
them
thing to it.
Egyptians.
Let me go to something I'm comfortable with. No, because this is one. There's some rules that I do live by, that I think hold true to history. Absolute power has always corrupted absolutely. So when you have a situation where, if and when, and this is where I go to the 99.9% human, if and when a human was given the same set of circumstances, I can't say any other group wouldn't do the same.
All right, so you with Chef, but this what I'm gonna say though.
Other
Chef,
groups
have
did
you
do
ever?
the same. When they was trading those guns and shit, and they was going to use that to capture most slaves and sell them off. Like technology was a big factor on
Okay,
the
all
major
right.
factor.
I could buy it, man. All right. So what about what the Romans wrote about the Germanic peoples, right? Like they said these are the most vile motherfuckers they ever came across. This before they
I will
Why do
respond
you
with
keep looking for these exceptions,
hold
yo?
on.
No,
Let
let
me
them go.
respond to that.
It's a good conversation, bro.
On
It's a good
then
conversation.
if that's the case, this kind of points down to y'all. Correct me if I'm wrong. I remember reading something like this when Dassaulin did the Haiti Revolution and freed them. He took a liking to and excluded the Polish motherfuckers that was down there and the German motherfuckers down there. If I'm not mistaken, he actually gave them a citizenship and classified them as Noir under their new, little rule or order. So he didn't feel that way about those German people down there.
Which country?
talking about Haiti. He's talking about Haiti.
Because he was at war with the French. He was at war with the
I
French.
know, but there were some of those Poles and those Germans left the side of those French to fight with them, and he
Yeah, because
spared
the
them.
friend of my enemy is my friend, but
I'm
he was
saying
at
he
war with the
spared them,
French.
so obviously they weren't at what Haskell just described.
But the Romans isn't a good example though, Haskell, because at the time, and that's another thing in politics. It's called his story. The victor wrote the story. So at the time, of course, Romans
Bruh.
didn't.
The
Hold on,
motherfuckers
no.
wild, bro.
I didn't even finish my sentence out. Y'all
Go
don't
ahead.
even know, or y'all might think y'all know what I'm about to say. But when the Romans ran shit, whatever savagery was is whatever they said it was too. Correct?
I mean, I guess
I
they
know.
wrote
Hold
about
on. No,
no,
I'm
but
just saying,
oh,
like,
that was rhetorical.
because
Okay, go
later
ahead.
on, when Germanic descended Europeans gained power, they redefined civilized to include themselves. So it's still, and then that's when they started saying Africans, Asians, and Native Americans were savage. So it's really still a power thing. Because those same
But why
Roman
would they?
descended
But here's the
Germanics, when
thing,
they
though.
later on, they just said they just changed whoever
But
was
Brad,
savage.
the Romans came in contact with the Persians. They came in contact with North Africans. They came in contact with all other groups, different kind of groups of people. And they said, these motherfuckers, I can't relate the historical record off the top of my head because they get into details. Like when they talk about like all the shit that the Vikings was doing and eating each
But
other,
it ain't
like,
just
wow.
specific to them. Those niggas and Native Americans, those Comanches, Apaches, those niggas was brutal, bro. Those vile people, bro. Like humans are just
Why? Why you say that? Scalping
Yeah, I
wasn't a
don't know about that one. Yeah, I don't know
the
about that one.
Scalping
Comanche.
was a
The
European
name
thing.
Comanche is stamp. Man, what? Y'all better go.
They
No,
scalp,
Them
they
folks was
scalp
Yeah,
wild.
but
during the war and shit like
Y'all
Scalping
know
that.
what the name
wasn't.
Comanche mean?
but the Germanic tribes, listen, and you know history. You might not know historical record, but you know history. The Germanic tribes were a threat to Rome.
Yes. Yeah,
Right.
but there
So it would
other groups
actually
were a
make
threat
sense.
too.
Yeah, no, but listen to what I'm
So that's
saying. They weren't.
propaganda.
Yeah, like they
That's
were
Roman
also
I know
propaganda.
what
What's
he's
up?
saying. I
like
know
the
what he's.
Germanic tribes were like a danger to them. So that goes down throughout history. If you got something strange or something dangerous, white people and Native Americans, white people and that, like you can go down through history, and if something is strange to you but also dangerous to you, like y'all about to be at it, then yeah, you would write some shit like that.
But
Like yeah,
the
you would say that
Europeans.
what they're doing is savagery. You're
Yeah, but
right. They did the. Hold on, because I wanted to be specific. They encountered the Berbers in North Africa, Parthians and Persians in the east, Gauls in Western Europe, Jews and Egyptians in the Levant and Nile Valley. But many of these groups were either conquered easily or incorporated into Roman trade faster. The Persians were too distant and organized to be dismissed as savages. The Germans' difference was they were close to Rome's borders. They were constantly attacking Rome, and they were seen as uncivilized, unpredictable, and ungovernable. They were the wild Northmen, and they haunted Roman imagination like a barbarian apocalypse always on the horizon. So there would actually be a power play in intimating them in their writings as them being savage. It wasn't they didn't pick and choose. These motherfuckers was attacking them, and they was attacking them in a way that they didn't understand. So now you got to remember, even during that time, not anything that was strange and attacking you would be savage. It would be dangerous. You wouldn't look at all these other groups as that because you ain't at it with them other groups. If you can get the other ones to trade, if you can easily take over the other ones or assimilate them into you, and you just can't do it with them, if you the person that's in power and writing history, whatever the fuck you say is what it is.
Yet still, when the
Tell me if
Germans,
I'm wrong before you counter
you're
my
wrong.
point.
You're
Okay.
wrong, because when the Germans came to power and they were in charge, that period of time was referred to as what was that period of time? The fall of Rome until the Age of Enlightenment. What it was referred to when those Germanic tribes were in charge of that part of Europe.
So
It
you're
was
saying when
referred
the
to as the
Germans,
Dark Ages
when the
by
Germans,
other
so you're
Europeans.
saying when
The
the
Romans
Germans
didn't exist
came,
anymore.
so you're saying when the Germanics came into power, that Rome was proven correct?
Yeah, because Europe became uncivilized, and that time period is referred to as the Dark Ages. And it was not until the Age of Enlightenment, when the Arabs started to bring back knowledge into Europe, that Europe now became back to some semblance of civilization.
You know you're doing the same thing Francis Cress
Yeah,
Wilson
but
did?
the Arabs ain't go up there like, hey, let us bring you out of shit. They went up there and killed off those Visigoth motherfuckers, King Roderick and those boys. They knocked them niggas straight the fuck off.
Yeah, and some of those people adopted Christianity, and they kept a lot of the Roman shit. And then on top of that, you're doing the same thing Wilson did, bro.
What?
You're
No, they
doing the
didn't.
same. Listen
No,
to
they
what I'm saying.
didn't.
Hold on,
It's a
give me a
Byzantine
second.
Empire who
You're
did more
They
than
doing
did
the
kill off
same
the
thing
royal
that
Visigoths.
Welston did. You're now saying that let's say I agreed with your premise, Piece. So if the Dark Ages did come, right? I agree with your premise. You think that was a biological and racial reason, or you think that it was history? But you somehow trying to apply it to biology and race, and ain't nobody on this chat qualified to do that. You just making a statement.
I'm applying
You're
it to the
just
nature
saying
of the
the Dark
individuals.
Ages was because of the Germanic tribe.
Of
Okay,
course it
even if I
was.
agree, but even if
It
I
was, it
agree
was
to
still
that, wait,
Romans
but even
around
if
that
I
motherfucker
agree
when
to
those
that
Germans was
premise,
over
it
there.
wouldn't be because of
It was still
biology and
Romans there.
race. There was no race at the time. You can't make it by the fact that you don't understand.
I'm not making it racial. I am saying that it's the nature of those individuals.
Their nature. Yeah, their
It's the
nature
nature of
because
those
of their
Germanic tribes.
biology.
I'm making it environmental, and I'm making it geographical. If you don't want to call them white, because at that time they weren't
Because
called
it was
white.
cold. Now you're saying because it was
No,
cold.
no. I am saying that those people, I'm not saying why. I don't know the why. I know the who. I don't know the how, but I know the
then
who.
leave it there. Okay, then leave it there.
Those people from that area of the world who came to conquer most of the world, who their language, which English is derived from, are some of the most vicious people in the world.
Do you know them same people that they called the most vicious people in the world over time became the fucking popes and all of them people too?
They came to rule of Europe. Most princes and queens and kings in Europe.
So when did they stop
that
being
tribe?
So when did they stop being savage and barbarian?
They never did.
Oh, I forgot. That's where you.
They never did.
No, my bad. No, my bad.
They never did.
I forgot where
They
you
never
was.
did.
No, you're
when
right. I forgot.
When the tribes of Europe were fighting each other in World War I, it was that tribe. It was that tribe when Germanic cousins were fighting their English Germanic cousins and their French Germanic cousins. It was that tribe. It has always been that tribe. They never stopped.
You got the white people mixed up with the reptilians, yo.
I'm not mixing up white people with reptilians. I'm saying those people, that tribe. They ruled Europe. They were the prince and princess
So the
and
Germanic people
of
are the
Europe.
reason for the dark. So they're the reason for the Dark Ages. That's what you're saying?
Of course, yes, they were when they conquered Europe.
Nah, they had diseases and shit
Did
going
you
on
forget
around that
about the
motherfucker.
fucking Black Plague?
Hell yeah, they had the Black Plague around that motherfucker.
Listen, Europe fell before the Black Plague. When did the Black Plague first arise? Europe already failed. And the plague has always existed, even in times when the Romans controlled Rome. The plague existed. You had all the diseases. That's why we come up with the word malaria, meaning that bad air caused diseases. They had plagues. They had many plagues, but they were always under control. The Black Plague came about because those savages tore down the infrastructure and allowed diseases to spread. Because not like the plague did just arise. The plague came from out of China. They knew
the Middle
the plague.
Ages. No, you're right. I just looked it up. That was the Middle Ages. That was before. You're correct.
Of course.
No, you're correct in that.
In the plague argument,
so you said,
right?
No, you said so the collapse of the centralized Roman power, but you're blaming it on the Germanics. Well, let me ask you, does this make sense to you? Because I had to go look at my dates when you asked me, because I didn't know it off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
The Western Roman Empire fell to overextension, internal corruption, economic decline, and the Germanic invasions.
Mm-hmm.
But without Rome, the entire infrastructure of law, roads, trade, and education broke down.
Mm-hmm.
After the fall, Europe became a patchwork of warring kingdoms and tribes, the Visigoths, the Franks, the Saxons, among others. There was no power to collect taxes, maintain roads, defend trade routes, fund public education or libraries. Then you had the collapse of urban life, and then the Christian church becomes the new center. The Catholic Church preserved some knowledge, but it was limited. Then the Vikings, the Magyars, the Muslims raided and destabilized regions from the 8th to the 10th centuries. So war and famine. So the Dark Ages may not have been caused by the plague. I was incorrect. but they were caused by the collapse of the Roman Empire and breakdown of centralized systems. The Black Death came 800 years later during a period when Europe was already recovering. So the darkness came from the structure. It is more believable for me historically that if that is the reason for the Dark Plague, I mean for the Dark Ages, not specifically the Germanic people.
Yeah, no, because we need to understand that the other Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, which white people don't want to call the Roman Empire because they were mostly controlled by Arab-looking people. It was still Rome, because the whole Roman Empire.
Well, they call it the Byzantine, so they don't label it the fall of Rome. Yeah, you're right about that.
So that existed up until the 5th century. And if you look at that empire and look at the knowledge and everything that was going on and the level of civility that existed in the Byzantine Empire, which was not affected by those people from that geographical area of the world, you realize that, and the Byzantine at the heights were just as strong because the Byzantines were richer.
Yeah, but that's not a debate.
Than the whole Roman Empire. No, but yet still, no. Let me finish the conversation.
That was only like the Eastern, though. There was still like the Western Roman Empire. Like there, like it wasn't all of it was the Byzantines. It was like the Eastern portion.
Yeah, because Byzantines,
they were richer than the other Roman Empire, and they didn't practice expansionism. The Byzantine did not practice expansionism.
Yeah, but they spoke Greek. They were Greek-speaking people, not Latin.
Did they practice expansionism? No, they were.
I mean, it was like a blended. It was like Romans, Greek,
right? But it was shifting though. It was becoming Eastern. It was becoming Eastern Orthodox, and they associated Greek culture with the decline, not Roman identity.
Did the Byzantine practice expansionism? No, they didn't.
This is far outside.
I mean, Rome was pretty expanded by the time. When
no. So because they didn't go into the steppes of Eurasia. So when you ask that question now, where people say, would other people, if they had the technology, behave like the Germanic people? And the question is no, not because you have the means, mean that you practice how they practice. Because the Byzantine didn't practice that way.
Well, they didn't even call themselves the Byzantines during that time. That shit was post the
collapse. But you know who we're talking. You know who we're talking. Yeah, they didn't practice. Did the Byzantine practice expansionism? No, they didn't. And did they have the means? Yes, they did. Did they have the technology? Yes, they did. Did they have the wealth? Yes, they did. Because most of the Roman wealth, when Roman was one empire, came from that part of the world. So they had the money to practice expansionism, but they didn't.
They conquered some areas that they had too, though, along the Mediterranean coast, like a lot of Italy and shit like that. They went and recaptured that shit.
Because they wanted, because that was the middle area. That's a home Rome.
That was like Justinian and or some shit like that around that time.
Yeah, they didn't practice expansionism. So when people ask, when somebody say, "Oh, if I had 10 guns and they had stones, I would have gone conquer the land." The Byzantine didn't think like that because they weren't savages.
So what's your explanation for the Mongols, the Arab Caliphates, Aztec Empire, Zulu Kingdom, Ottoman Empire, Chinese Empire, Kingdom of the Dahomey? What is your
the homie? They ain't got no excuse. I don't fuck with them niggas at all.
So human history shows that when people have unchecked power, they use it violently, regardless of race or origin. So, what is your excuse for those 10?
All right, which one you want to start with? Let's start with the Chinese.
I really don't. I was kind of rhetorical.
Because the Chinese, but the Chinese, when the Chinese set the empire, they build a wall to protect themselves. They build a wall.
But they forced.
Yeah, but they could have gone into all of the Kazakhstan and the other lands, but they didn't.
Hold on. Mongols. Mongols, Arab caliphates, large-scale slavery, Mongols, massacres of entire cities, 13th century, Arab caliphate, 7th century, Aztec Empire, human sacrifice, conquest of neighbors, 1300s, Zulu Kingdom, Mephican wars, displaced or killed hundreds of thousands, Ottoman Empire, slavery, genocide, Armenians later, Chinese Empire, Kingdom of the Dahomey. The Byzantine Empire.
You're just naming names now. Yeah, and I'm going to report two of them. Because the Aztecs, When the Aztecs, if you go and listen to the history of the Aztec and the Aztecs' origin story, the Aztec says they are one of the seven brothers in South America, in America at the time, and they consider themselves one of 7 brothers. They did not, and how they practice expansionism, and they didn't really practice expansionism. Because before they go into a place, they consider the people them. They were one of 7 brothers.
The 7 kings.
Or 7 kings.
I'm looking this up as you're talking. So yeah, the 7 kings.
I'm not talking off the dome. I'm not talking off the dome.
Well, it don't say shit about brothers. I'm just giving you some clarity.
Yeah, I know. And what time I'm talking off the dome, right? So they never practiced that kind of expansionism. When the Chinese society was set, they built a wall that wasn't expanding anymore, and they had the wealth where they could say, "I want to go from one world to the next end of the world."
They had
now
all
we're
that already.
We're going to talk about Genghis Khan now. Genghis Khan, the Khans came from the steppes of Eurasia. And people need to know what the steps of Eurasia are.
Are you trying to be the one person in history saying Genghis Khan wasn't savage?
No, he's savage. He was savage. He was savage, but he was
Would
not.
You say he had the technology? Would you say he had technology and power at the time?
They killed
he had the technology.
The whole thing on
he had the technology, but he did not behave like the Europeans. His level of his expansion came out of, if you know what the steppes look like.
Yeah, it was
the
a bunch
steppes
of little,
are
like
grassland. There's no trees on the steppes. The Eurasian steppes are.
It's all grassland. Yeah,
it's all grassland. There's nothing there. They had to expand. If he did not, they had to expand or die. And when he expanded, although he killed people, he brought them into the flock and he allowed them to practice, and they had an opportunity whether or not to join him. And he said, "Listen, you can practice what you practice."
You're not bringing this home very well.
No, you have to bring it to him very well, because people need to go and read up.
They estimate that he killed almost 40 million people.
Yeah, I just watched the whole documentary that just came out on Genghis Khan.
Stalin killed 70.
2 weeks
Stalin
ago.
killed 70.
It's between 30 and 40.
Yeah, Stalin killed 70 million people.
I don't want to start talking about atrocities. I'm just saying. So are you saying he was morally better? What is your
argument?
Genghis Khan married another woman from a village. His dad got killed by another motherfuckers, and he went wild after that, man. Like,
bro, he killed 40 million people in less than 100 years.
That nigga changed the temperature on Earth. That nigga's a wild boy.
Killed 20 million people in less than 20 years.
I'm not. You keep switching to
70 million people in less than 20
years. No. I'm talking about Genghis Khan. He used his power to dominate, massacre, and exploit. It proves that atrocity is power and ambition, not race. When people get away with killing and conquering, they often do, no matter where they're from.
Was he inclusive? After he did his atrocity. Christianity
to the world.
A nigga killing 40 million people.
So do we motherfucking excuse slavery because they brought us Christianity?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. That you're making up that
wild argument.
I'm not saying that.
Going here today.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that. No,
I'm not saying one is better than the other. Those two things. We're just naming that it's a human quality.
Yeah, it's human. It's not racial or biological. It's just human. You're saying
you want to hold on to that. Listen, I'm going to continue further hold on to what I hold on to.
Yeah, I'm not. No, we're not trying to change you.
And you're going to hold on to. You're going to hold on to the kumbaya.
Like,
that these people.
That nigga killed his own brother. Only express power. Like, come on, what? That don't make no sense.
No. We're not trying to change you. You are firmly entrenched. Ain't no way I'm gonna try to make you somehow think Europeans.
You're going to hold on to these people kumbaya, and the only reason why they behave how they behave is because they had the power. And even when they had the power, they still behave like how they behave. That's what you're going to say. And I'm going to say, okay, you have it your way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was Shaka Zulu problem then? Or what was Queen and Zinga problem? if it's racial, what was the Dahomey Kingdom problem? I'll wait.
Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu conquered tribes in South Africa, and he unified South Africa under one nation.
That was a rhetorical question, Steve.
No, he said he'd wait. He said he'd wait.
That was a joke. If you try to justify Shaka Zulu and his fucking savagery, you're one of you. Listen,
why was Shaka Zulu a savage now? Because you watch the movie.
No.
The most people who know about Shaka Zulu from the movie.
Right.
I saw that.
When Disney have the song "The Lion Sleep Tonight," it's about Shaka Zulu. He was revered by his people. The Khoisan people, the click-speaking people are not Zulu, but they still exist in South Africa. We can name 11 different tribes that are there that he did not subjugate and put them under slavery. So when you're comparing Shaka Zulu to the Germanic tribes, you're stepping beyond your means.
No, we just saying that barbarity and cruelty and murder is human.
No, because you can't say that. What the Germanic tribes do.
Go ahead.
What descendants of the Germanic tribes do is totally different to what anybody else have done. Nobody else.
Everybody ends up dead. So what is totally different?
No, but nobody else devised the kind of slavery that the Germanic tribes devised. Nobody else. Even the Romans, you had party citizenship when they had slavery. Right?
The Roman Empire was enslaved. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but they had party citizenship, and not because your father was a slave, made you a slave in the German Empire, in the Roman Empire. They did not have the kind of slavery that those Germanic tribes came up with. Go and research it. Genghis Khan did not have that kind of slavery either. It did not have that kind of slavery. Right? Shaka Zulu, when he finalized conquered what he was conquered, the other tribes existed. The other tribe, the Khoisan, the click speakers, the other tribes existed in South Africa, and they're still there today. And because we watch Shaka Zulu on TV, that propaganda bullshit series that they had, all of a sudden we form a narrative for him. When the people of South Africa, that Disney song, The Lion Sleep Tonight, it was for him. They revered him.
It's two P's. Do you feel like there's such a thing as a healthy dose of racism?
I'm not racist. I'm a realist.
What the hell did you just say?
People. I love everybody.
Bullshit.
I love everybody.
How do you explain
how you love everybody, but you
tribal wars, the inner wars going on in Africa? Like,
I love it. I love the lion. That don't mean that I'm going to get into his cage. That don't mean that I'm going to get into his cage.
You just said all white people are inherently evil. And
yes, I love them still.
Now
I love them still.
Now you love everybody. What the
I love everybody. I love a lion, but that don't mean that I'm going to get into his cage. That don't mean that I'm going to get into his cage.
I don't love no liar, my boy. I'm sorry.
Right?
No.
Because you don't love me.
You know what's funny, Stu? I almost would have accepted if you told us you was racist, but now that you telling us all that shit you just said for the past hour, you're trying to say you're not racist.
I'm not racist.
You applied race-wide an inherently evil trait to a race. That's racist.
No, that's not racist.
That ain't racist. Okay. Okay.
I just apply history.
And then make a
over
the last 400 years of history to formulate a premise. I wasn't being racist. I was just enunciating their history.
Hey, Stu Pease.
I spoke no lie.
Hold on, let me tell you what the chat just said. I must read the chat for a second. He said, you sound like what Nazis will say. that they are not racist, just that some Jews are just genetically inferior and got to go, but we love them.
I did not say, and I did
Turn
not
the heat up. I love you.
No, and again, I did not say.
We're trying to keep you warm. Yeah, we
I
understand.
did not say. Listen,
warm.
at no time did I call the Germanic tribe racially
You're
inferior.
wild as hell, stupid.
I did not call them racially inferior. I did not call them racially inferior.
If you calling white people inherently evil, that would make them inferior.
No, it doesn't.
That means they have no choice over their genetics. They're just biologically fucked from the start. That's inherently.
That don't make them racially inferior. But that don't make them racially inferior.
You know, if that was the case, hold on. Listen, you're just juxtaposing the fact because you're assuming their power. But now let me ask you this. No. Let me ask you this.
I'm relating to action.
Let me ask you this, Supi. But if they were inherently evil and had no power, say that black people were we were the power, they would be inferior to us. We would cage them just whether they showed the fucking savagery, whether they showed the evilness or not, we would say, look at them savages. They're inherently evil. That's an inferiority. We'd be applying that they don't have a choice. You know what's funny about this conversation, Stu-B? Freddie, cover your ears and don't start defending because I ain't talking about you.
I've been refraining to try to bring that
That's
shit up.
what the fuck they was saying.
I've been trying so hard not to enter that shit in.
You think
when the line right up,
IQ gap
we just born criminals and shit.
You think they're saying that we're superior, but we're dumb?
All right. You ready now? Because the argument that you make is only strengthening my argument. Right?
To you?
Because the nature of a person or the nature of a group of a person will determine how they treat other people. And I don't believe it is in our nature to subjugate people on a wide-scale generational level.
If we had the power and technology, we most certainly would do it.
And I think we wouldn't.
Okay.
And I think we wouldn't.
Okay.
How are you gonna say that when we was traded slaves for guns and fucking liquor, and was going to round up more slaves to sell for more guns and liquor? What
umbrellas? I seen the thing where they were selling niggas for umbrellas.
Umbrellas. Yeah.
Okay.
That shit almost killed me, yo.
I'm going to use a modern example. To say why we wouldn't. And many persons might disagree with me on this.
Enigma.
In Rwanda, you had a massacre between the Hutu and the Tutsis. The leader of Rwanda is a person who his people were the one that was massacred. And not what he put in place after the massacre of his people. The system that he's put in place. And the approach that he had take for reunification is a total different thing than savagery and retribution.
Source what?
When Nelson Mandela came to power in South Africa, and I've known South Africans, white South Africans, and all of them were saying that they were going to Australia. They're going to Australia, or they went to Australia, and they this and that, because they thought that all of this knife was going to be turned around and kill them. And instead, you had a different approach to solve that problem. It might not have been perfect, but it was one that was taken into consideration, one that approached truth and reconciliation. Our people, when given the opportunity, when placed into power, have always tried the method of peace first.
No, you
brought up, when I said that, you brought up two examples, and I just brought up two examples. When black people have the power, they turn to savages, and they don't.
I know you're wrong as soon as you say always, bro. As soon as you say always, you're wrong.
We see African governments today.
That's the beauty of you can't do absolutes. As soon as you say we always did that,
we always try.
Human beings don't even work like that.
Good point,
but they did. But South Africa did
right now.
Yeah, we got African countries right now that's like
you know what them niggas are doing to each other in the Sudan right now?
Yeah, are we serious? Like I got my phone, man. I can show you like actual videos, my people's fucking villages, bro. That shit crazy, bro. That shit ain't no what.
Look, you cannot use Sudan, and the reason why we can't use Sudan, that's
I can't use the Sudan.
Okay? Let me tell you why we can't use Sudan.
Okay.
Ready?
Wow.
When you have a bunch of people that is brainwashed, when you have a bunch of people, let me finish now. When you have a bunch of people that is brainwashed by religion, and the Sudan conflict is primarily a religious conflict. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're wrong.
It's the Sudanese conflict, a religious conflict.
Are they niggas? The point is, are they niggas?
All right, so we're done.
I'm about to say this, Chief X, but could you please come in here and give us some peace,
calm, let me just,
and clarity, bro?
Let me say this.
Is that Chief X? I don't talk to Chief X, you know.
Yeah.
So this is
on mute, still. God damn.
So this is what I like to clarify when people bring up the Rwandan genocide, right? And the savagery of it, okay? What people fail to realize and mention is, listen to these numbers. Over 500,000 women were raped, mutilated, and murdered. I'm talking about children, female children, and the women. 500,000. That's a lot. That's some savage shit. You know what I mean? That's some shit they did on their own. Nobody told you them to do that. Everyone has savagery in their race. I just wanted to add that tidbit.
Oh yeah, I mean, the person that disagrees left. If you got Shaka Zulu, he created his empire through innovation and conquest. Here's what it is. Like it's not a. And for those people asking me to source up that human beings, if given the power and technology, would do the same, you source up and go read the history books I'm not about to read to you. I just told
Enigma trolling, yo.
Yeah, got to be. I don't even think that's him. That's probably, I was about to say some crazy shit. That's probably somebody we know.
One other thing, Brass, like, for instance, Western Central African tribe went to war with their neighbors. That's their form of colonizing and expanding their numbers, right? They went to war with their neighbors. They didn't have ships and weren't seafaring people to go to other people's lands and kidnap and colonize and do things. Trust and believe, if they had some ships and was able to travel to other countries and other continents, oh, they would have been colonizing and taking folk.
You know, my issue with the argument is, though, Chief, and this goes back into a logic. It's funny because I think about logic in these conversations. When y'all say things like, not y'all, but when the narrative is that Black people will always choose peace, do you know how inhuman that actually makes us? War and peace, humans do both. So are we not human? Like, are we like somehow this, we can't seize power. Even when everybody else around us is choosing violence, we got to remain passive. And you'd also be saying, whoever Enigma is saying, source up, you can't possibly say that all Black and African peoples on this planet since the beginning of time have no history of resistance, rebellion, or empire building. You just don't. It's a human thing. It's not a racial thing. Now, can we say that their record is particularly savage? Yeah, but not because they're European. They've had the power, they've had the technology, they exercised it. I don't think if the roles was reversed, huh?
No, you can't name an African empire without having to acknowledge their expansion and war effort. Like that is an oxymoron, right? So if you go to the Ghana Empire, it was expansionist. That's a war. You dig what I'm saying? You go to Songhai, that's expansion. That's war. You dig what I'm saying? Name an African
Mali,
empire.
Ghana, Benin, Ashanti,
Yes.
Dahomey, Zulu. Like, what are we? Are we just the
Bro, the
suckers and everybody
Dahomey
else
was
is
doing that
human?
shit bro, like when slavery was abolished, damn near everywhere, they still kept it going. And on top of that, they shit collapsed the moment they had to give it up.
Yep.
It collapsed. It was over
They
with.
had a
That's
slave economy.
Yeah, that's what kept it afloat. Are we fucking serious right now? This is crazy. Motherfuckers just want to forget. Like we doing revisionist history right now, saying this shit.
Right. So when I say that Europeans Western Europeans in the 19th century was the main group of people that gave us our humanity nowadays for human beings being repulsed about slavery. The disgust that we have over the institution of slavery is a Western ideal. And we stand on that shit nowadays. All of the treaties and the morality around slavery is Western. Like they switched their whole shit up in the 19th century. You know what I mean? And they forced the rest of the world to switch their shit up. I'm telling you, 3,000 years ago in recorded history, there was already slavery on every continent, right? It wasn't until the Europeans in the 1900s did a 360 and the rest of the world had to turn with them. Niggas don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. You know what
I mean? They can't deal with that part.
They think that Europeans are.
They said, you know what's scary? This is all to defend Francis Cress Wilson and John Henry Clark. You see how far? Do you see what you see the length?
Look how far we done got away from Francis
we
Cress
gotta
Wilson.
go to defend John Henry Clark and Francis Cress Wilson.
Stupee's not into John Henry Clark and people like that. So that's not his.
That's how he started. No. He said he agrees with those people.
Yeah,
like listen, like, hey, Haskell, hold on, Haskell. Let me say this.
You asked him what his favorite part was, bro.
Haskell, let me stay in this.
It was the racism,
and then take it over. The whole conversation started, and this is when people say, "Oh, this shit ain't alive." Nobody believes Francis Cress Wilson and John Henry Clark. He is literally someone that believes in the white genetic annihilation and the melanin.
No,
he believes that shit.
Brass, I'm telling you what listen to what I'm saying, bro. I'm telling you what I know. I've been knowing the man for about 5+ years, and he's been coming on these panels for a while too. That shit that he's saying about white folks, that's something that he developed on his own, just through reviewing history and all that shit. That's before he even knew what a fucking Francis Cress Weldon was. I'm telling you.
But even if he don't,
This is what I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
He learned about Francis Cress Wilson from these niggas, right? Only thing he was saying is that part of her trying to create a hypothesis around trying to explain these group of people exceptional level of brutality and warfare and all that shit. He's saying he agrees that it's something intrinsic about these people as to why they behave that way. Now that's independent of Francis Cress Wilson or not. You get what I'm saying? It just so happens that he just happens to see it that way as she does. He wasn't defending her. Trust me.
No, I'm not saying he was defending her. I'm saying we was talking about Francis Cress Wilson, and he said, "You know what? I'm just using his words. Subconsciously, I agree with her." That's what he said. And so even if he just learned of it now, he offered this subconsciously. I agree with her, and then proceeded to go to Germanic invasions in Rome. The lengths he went to defend this bullshit, but everybody around us, Haskell, is telling us that what she's saying ain't true. But there are people that believe that shit. Even if
he
it's
didn't know
independent
her,
of her, even if it's independent of her, there are still people that believe that shit. That shit gotta go. It's holding us back.
Even if he didn't know her or get it from her, it's a bunch of people, thousands of people, been parroting her ideology.
Oh yeah, I agree. That's no
Yeah,
debate for me.
because
That's not
like
It came from her one way or the other, whether he knew it came from her or not.
Nah. Plenty people
Yeah,
feel that. Listen, plenty people been feeling that way before Francis Cress Welsing, bro. When they
It's
look,
a best-selling book at every
Yeah,
black
but them people didn't write
bookstore,
the ISIS. Them people
online,
didn't
wherever
write
you
the
want to
ISIS
look.
papers. Those
It's a top
Ashley, you'd
15
have to
book.
agree.
say
You
that
got the
again,
people that
Brass.
those same people that felt that same way. You know, I would agree. There's people on this chat right now that feel the same way, but they didn't write the ISIS papers. She wrote a
Yeah,
book,
because
and
they weren't.
that book
Perhaps
was
they weren't.
flooded in the
It
community.
wasn't. Perhaps they wasn't clever enough to, come up with. Because, like Stu P said, he don't know the why. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? But perhaps it wasn't clever as her, or had the platform that she did, or or they weren't inclined to put pen to paper like that. But
Right.
that shit that she's saying ain't new. Like, people look around and they look at the historical record and they say, God damn, these motherfuckers, like, we know human beings is violent, but these niggas the 90s bulls of violence. Like what?
Your sports references are fucking hilarious. You said one earlier. I was still laughing at that shit. You said that they were you said they were the South, yeah.
Bill
86.
Russell and them looking at her.
That nigga said the 86 Celtics. Those some unbeatable motherfuckers too. But see, you know what? Your narrative with that though, even that kind of like bolsters the point. It makes their white supremacy unbeatable, Chief. Like, it turns it from some shit we could look at and identify and possibly get some legislation going and all of a sudden the other, and then the shit is so mysticized that
Mythological.
it's not. Now it's like, yeah, it's like who the hell
No,
could
that
beat the
don't mean.
96 Bulls and shit?
But,
Like, it's
but
like
look,
crazy.
that don't mean that they undefeatable. But all right, so look, let me read this right quick about the Germanic peoples, right? So I asked AI, was Germanic culture centered around war? It says yes, warfare was a significant and constant element of Germanic culture, especially during the Iron Age and the centuries leading up to and during their interactions with the Roman Empire, right? Here's why. Frequent conflicts. Germanic tribes were frequently engaged in wars, both between themselves and with neighboring groups, including the Romans. Importance of warfare. Warfare held considerable importance in Germanic society. Men began battle training at a young age and received a shield and spear upon manhood, symbolized their readiness for combat, highlighting the integral role of military prowess in their culture. Acquisition of resources. One primary motivation for warfare was the potential to acquire resources and booty, particularly during raids on neighboring communities or Roman territories.
Mm-hmm.
Warrior culture and chieftains. Germanic society had a warrior culture where warriors were fiercely devoted to their leaders as chieftains. These chieftains, often elected based on merit and skill in battle, relied on retinues of followers who depended on their leaders for military service and shared in the spoils of victory. Religious and societal influence. Germanic religion and ideology were heavily influenced by warfare, emphasizing a heroic death in battle. However, it's crucial to acknowledge the following nuances. Not solely defined by warfare. While warfare was a prominent aspect, it's inaccurate to say that Germanic culture only revolved around war. Other facets of their culture included agriculture and animal husbandry. These were vital economic activities, particularly in settled regions. So they ate food so they have energy to go to war. So social structure. Germanic society had a social hierarchy, including kings, nobles, freemen, farmers, artisans, and slaves. Although social status was often tied to individual achievement and military skill. So even still came back to war. Religion and rituals. Germanic religion featuring gods like Woden and Thor, some warfaring as gods, involved specific rituals including sacrifices and the reverence of sacred natural sites like trees and groves. And this is me editing shit in. That's where they would hang motherfuckers up and shit and decapitate motherfuckers and play with their body and all kind of crazy shit. Arts and craftsmanship. Germanic metalworkers were skilled craftsmen producing high quality tools and weapons. Everything comes back to war, dog. Like, and I know what you finna say, Brass.
What am I about to say?
Other cultures train their young to be warriors and all of that.
That's what I was about to say. No,
but what society don't develop weaponry? That's crazy.
War-centered doesn't make people savage. I'm just saying, war-centered people doesn't make them savage by nature.
No, I'm saying their whole identity, their whole culture, their religion, their art, everything is about warfare, nigga. Like,
but you can read the same thing about the Native Americans, and they war with each other before the Europeans and after the Europeans.
And it still don't make them savage, Chief.
You can say that about every people on planet Earth.
Y'all know what Comanche translates to in their language?
Doesn't make it savage.
It means one who fights with everybody. That's what they
Sparta was savage. I mean, there's a lot of people that. Sparta was war-centered. Doesn't make them savage. The savagery is like something. It's something. You're not talking about war. If we're talking about war being savage, then everybody is fucking savage, and everybody ain't savage.
And your entire society is centered around warfare. That's just not normal. That ain't normal in no other. The Spartans, they did that because of what happened to them. That developed because of the fucking slavery and shit they was put under, right? These motherfuckers was doing this shit to themselves. Like the Germanic tribes, they was steadily at war with themselves. And not only that, they wouldn't just kill motherfuckers. They made that shit ritualistic, like hanging motherfuckers on trees and decapitating the bodies and letting motherfuckers see it to send a message. And
they still became the foundation of Western civilization.
And also Romans were kind of, they had a lot of fights and putting animals against humans and in Colosseum fighting and scrapping and violence. I mean, I think this applies to all people.
What would you say about the samurais, Haskell?
What about them?
That was Japanese war culture. War-centered culture.
I mean, was there gods and all that shit centered around?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm trying to see where you separate savagery. How the Germanic war culture
and then the samurai was a subset of the society.
Right, and they all serve the same master. The one individualistic.
Why you leave when T-Fex came, Stu?
I don't listen to T-Fex. As soon as T-Fex start talking, I jump off. I don't listen to him.
Yeah, but he shouldn't make you leave. We was enjoying your content.
No. No, I don't want to hear nothing from him.
Okay.
Me personally, I don't have no problem with other people.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was saying it's the samurai and the ninjas and shit. That's a subset of society. That's literally the warrior class of the society. With the Germanic motherfuckers, that was their society. That like through and through, like raiding and kidnapping women. Well, all the motherfuckers did that shit back in the day, but their whole shit is around murder and then ritualistic murder.
So now I'm outside of my depth, but I want to say it says the samurais weren't a subset; they were the ruling class for centuries, and that the samurai culture actually shaped Japanese society. And Japan under samurai rule was constantly at war. So calling samurai a subset is like calling Roman legions or Spartan warriors a subset. Technically true, but they ran the entire society. So we're talking about the society of the people. They ran the society, so it was a war-centered culture. In Sparta, they were a subset. The warriors are a subset, but they ran society. So
Brad, some people need to grow up and get some balls and stop being scared.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me tell you what's really behind. Because I destroyed his Caribbean brother Garfield. That's what's
What'd you do
behind.
to Garfield?
Oh man, I exposed Garfield's scamming ass so many times. That's Stu P's boy.
Don't let this devolve into a personal little war with, you stupid.
I just wanted to give an answer. Stupid piece was on some emotional shit.
So where do you so Chief X, I don't know, I never got your take on where you stood with this whole Francis Cress Wilson thing, all that. Are we off base? Should we leave we were told to let the dead people be dead and focus on 19 Keys and Tariq Nasheed and Umar Johnson, and we think that's a flawed argument. What say you?
I think Francis Cress Wilson was a supreme grifter. You know what I mean? I think she was a liar. I think she made up all that stuff to grift black folk because black folk will fall for that. And you tap black folks' emotions by, calling a white man the devil and he's evil and this and this and that. White black folk get hyped when they hear that type of shit. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And it gives them excuse to be racist like she is. You know what I mean? So we fall for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But at Francis Cress Wilson, I just think she was a grifter and intellectually scamming black folk.
So how do you feel about, do you think that our campaign, I wouldn't even call it a campaign because we never bring the shit up, we're just responding, but
definitely a campaign. Don't do that.
No, we didn't even bring this up today, Haskell. Brought it up. The other day we didn't bring it up. Sosa brought it up. We wouldn't talk about this unless we were responding. These conversations at this point, Haskell, are responses. We didn't wake up today and say, let's talk about Francis Cress Wilson. He's about to talk about the Heritage Foundation. So Unc started telling us focus on two niggas in a hyperbaric chamber and leave the dead people alone. And then somebody else fucking jumped in and all this other shit. Like, this is just a response. That's all it is. We're just dealing with what the Discord chat is saying. None of us brought up Francis Cress Wilson today. Unc did.
We wasn't even.
The things with these elders, is they.
Hold on, Chief. We weren't going to talk about it the other day, and then Unc put some video from Donahue in there, and that's when. And let me tell you, we didn't even know that she was listening to her heart, voices in her head and heart when she met Neely Fuller. We didn't know that. That was actually like news to us. It was like shit. This shit went from weird to fucking insane. So yeah, we're not. Yeah. Go ahead, Archie.
Yeah, so like the elders, like me, Brass, even Ankh, Chef, all of us, sometimes I call people like me junior elders or what have you. But the elders will never, even today, say they was wrong about some stuff in the past, or they was wrong about some history.
Wait! I need clarity. Why the hell you say Brass?
Oh, I'm saying like Brad, you'll admit if you was wrong about something, you'll change with new information.
I ain't no goddamn elder. I don't want to. Go ahead.
Yeah, so none of these elders that's alive today have ever admitted that they was wrong about something, that they was wrong about something they teach. This is why I know they're grifters, right? You're supposed to change with time, you know what I mean? When truth comes about, you're supposed to roll with it, you know what I mean? But they will not roll with it. Professor Smalls will still teach the same shit he was teaching 30 years ago. They will never say they was wrong. They will never correct themselves. They stand on everything they used to teach.
Yeah. What do you feel? What do you feel about? Are you familiar with the Iceman Inheritance?
Yeah, I heard old school book. I think I read it years ago.
What do you think about him writing the foreword? You think we off base with that?
Out of all the historians, I sometimes I give John Henry Clark a pass because I just think he was a general historian. Mm-hmm. I think the things that he did espouse, I think he just kind of actually really believed it. I don't think he was intentionally miseducating people or intentionally teaching anything that's wrong. I think he really truly believed that shit.
The genetic annihilation and all of that stuff.
I think Clark kind of believed that.
Okay. I wish Corey was here so he could tell us about intentions.
What Corey say about intention?
The road to hell is paved with them. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. People that had their best. It was empowerment and all this, that, and the other. And look what happened. How you feel about 19 Keys?
Oh,
you know, I still haven't looked him up.
I hate that nigga. He's the worst nigga out here, bro. Like,
Jesus, he the final boss?
No, he ain't the final boss, but he kind of like, you know, he reared his head into like, you know, popular social media. You know what I mean? It's almost like his shit grew legs. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was having really prominent guests on, like people also, you know, buying into his shit. Nigga had Billy Carson on that motherfucker.
People need to be talking about red and blue pill in New York, them two twins.
For what? Them niggas is obsolete.
Somebody heard the name red and blue pill and decided to follow him?
Yeah, the Moors.
Nigga named the red and the blue
started
pill.
doing like
people follow that shit?
Oh, them niggas started doing like some type of karate or something. I seen. I don't know what they was on. They were like ninjas out this motherfucker.
No, is that their name? Is that their name?
The red and blue pill.
Oh,
that's their monikers.
But like I said, they ain't never really take off. They don't got the charisma. They was really weirdos.
They pretty much relegated to this community. The only nigga from this community that blew up was Pharaoh. And really, Pharaoh had his own little thing.
Pharaoh walked so a nigga like 19 Keys can live in the sunlight. Like for real. For real, bro.
Yeah, red and blue pill, they sell gold water and silver. They sell gold water and silver water and all that old pseudo science.
Last time I checked, they was on like that, you know, come down to the land and be a part of this type shit. They don't reach that level of it. Like, you know, that's like the older stage of it. Once you get in like your 50s and shit, it's like, oh, I got this land, y'all come down here. Like that shit crazy.
Where did y'all first hear about these people?
Sarnetta, the Moors. Yeah.
I figured that.
Sarnetta was everybody introduction. You can drop Sarnetta name to people who don't watch the shit, and they came across Sarnetta. Like, I'm pretty sure a vast majority of the black community who have found some little interest in reading on certain things have heard about Sarnetta. I can guarantee that.
What is y'all stance on him?
They may not know all the characters, but they know Sarnetta.
Yeah, red and blue pill are OGs with Sarnetta. Red and blue pill and Simon, I don't know if you know the numerology guy, Simon, they the ones who brought Polite to the community.
So they brought who?
Oh, by the way, Brass, they're twins if you didn't know.
Oh, Polite.
Oh, that makes it worse. That makes it worse.
I mean, Sarnetta was how I found about everybody else. Pseudo Killers, Dagger Squad, like all that shit to me, from my perspective and how I saw things was like, you know, like
these are all branches of the
Sarnetta tree.
How they be standing football,
That's why
Brad?
I said the head of the snake gotta go.
How they be standing football? His what they call branches.
Oh yeah. Branches.
Even spin-offs. These are all spin-offs. Sarnetta spin-offs.
Even carnivorous. Even carnivorous is a branch.
Podcast is fruit of the
poisonous tree. Pseudo Killers is a Sarnetta spin-off. I saw them on Sarnetta.
You said the Pseudo Killers was a Sarnetta spin-off?
To me, from my perspective.
It's from that family tree, Brass.
No, it's not.
It sounds like Sarnetta got to go.
Let me tell you what happened.
Hey, where's
I don't mean like they
are we putting Sarnetta on the list?
I'm saying like how I was introduced to the majority of these channels in different little sectors or whatnot was seeing them on Sarnetta first and then going over to them.
Right. You know what's a better way to put it, said?
From
you know what's a better way to put it?
Pseudo Killers.
You know what's a better way to put it?
All them niggas.
You know, you got the MCU universe. All them niggas is in the Sarnetta universe.
Sarnetta Stanley.
All
You know,
y'all need to listen.
You know, a funny thing, ATL boy, we normally don't agree, but I gotta agree with him on this statement. I never heard of Sonetta till I got into the Discord with Pseudo Killers. I never heard of him. I had never really heard of him before until I got on the internet.
That's why I said anybody who's into reading this type of shit will know about Sonetta.
So, Said Breeze, this is a little real brief history. Said Breeze and Brass. So Sonetta started. He's like the media mogul for what you would call, for lack of a better word, the conscious community on 125th Street. He started in the streets, right? So what happened is all these elders, Professor Smalls, Dr. Ben, M. Fadishi, the psychiatrists, all these people are centered in New York. A lot of them taught at that college in New York. This is a whole big clique. So when Sonetta jumped off on 125th Street, what happens is people with the gift of gab, people who are hustlers in selling a product, they all gravitated to Sonetta so they can be seen and heard. All the scammers, all the hustlers gravitated to Sonetta so they can get on that mic, be seen and heard, and sell their products. This is what it was all about. The real people who are honest, real scholars.
What you just said? You just said Askel.
Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. I'm gonna let my plan.
Didn't Askel just say the same thing?
Hold on, real quick, please. Let me just finish my sentence. I'm about to finish.
No,
So
but
the
why
real
you don't
people.
have Askel?
Hold on.
Hold on, let him finish
The real,
this. Come on, we don't need
the
that.
real people who are honest, college students, and people like this didn't come around Sonetta. The only people that came around Sonetta were scammers and hustlers. So this is what we have now: a community of scammers and hustlers.
Put some names to it. I don't respect it unless you put names to it.
Blue Red Pill, Young Pharaoh. They all from New York.
Polite.
Polite. I mean, all these cats is from New York. That center right over there.
Okay.
All the elders is from New York.
From the Mecca.
All.
But now, but Reggie ain't no Reggie not a scammer though. He's from the Bronx.
Reggie's just not smart enough to scam. Because he's not a
That's
hustler. He don't
Sonetta gave it like to all of it, not just the
that was
scammers,
the most
but the
backhanded
scammers as well.
I've ever heard. Nah, Reggie, I don't think Reggie no scammer.
Nah, not Reggie, but like I'm saying, Sonetta gave birth to, or I can say birth, but gave light to all factions of the conscious community. It was the
Reggie
hub.
is a liar though.
It was the hub
Reggie
of
is a
it.
bit of a liar though.
So
Sonetta
where do you get the
hub.
pseudo killers? Where did you get the pseudo killer part though? Where did they come in?
That's
what
I saw Uncle him on Sonetta
I wouldn't
channel.
classify them as scammers either.
That's from the Amara Squad.
Yeah, I saw them with Amara Squad and that on
So
Killers. Like I saw Dagger Squad on Sonetta. I saw Mossy and them on Sonetta.
The Amara Squad was Unc, Sanjetti, Wu Jiao. I can't remember the other people. It was
Gullah and them.
Are these people American?
Yeah, but look, they was heavily on the Egypt shit back in them times. Right?
I mean, look at the name.
Right, that's how Ankh got the name Ankh. Wu Jiao, that's Sanjay. Those are all Egyptian names. Pseudo killers represented once Ankh made he made that leap into science where he realized his evolution. When he had his personal evolution into being scientifically literate, that's when you see pseudo killers come out.
Yeah, but Uncle was on the science shit way back before I even seen Pseudo Killers. When they was on that viral video, they got them on that corner with Young Pharaoh and Gozy and all them. Like that was before Pseudo Killers.
Okay.
All in all, Sonetta the hub for most people to find out about a lot of these characters.
So we're not necessarily the reason why people know Francis Cress Russell. Maybe Sonetta has something to do with it too.
Nah, she was known from the. She's considered an elder. That's before Sonetta hit the scene.
So she is considered an elder.
I mean, look how people are stepping up to defend her. They defending her like she's an elder.
It's like Tyreek keep her name alive a lot. You know, he always call her name.
Umar's and all them.
Umar, yeah.
Dr. Mayat.
Yeah, Dr. Mayat, she stands on.
Oh, she reps. Oh yeah. Did put that video in there.
Yeah.
Oh, she loves Francis Chris Wilson.
That's what you call. That's a queen. That's a queen mother.
Who's the fucking queen mother?
Francis Chris Wilson.
Oh, I knew Ice Papers before I knew Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben worked. Like that's how early Ice Papers got to me. I didn't hear about Dr. Ben until like I was like 19, 20. I heard Ice Papers in like when I was 16.
Said, you know who the real queen mother is in the community, right?
Nah. Who?
The real queen mother, all the sisters look up to. Queen Afua.
Queen Afua.
Who is that?
She don't really be on the scene like that, but she was heavy in the scene at first. She was on Breakfast Club all day. They gave her a big light.
Who is that? I might know her.
She's
on the Breakfast
Queen
Club.
Afua used to be married to Phil Valentine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh man, forgot about Phil.
He said, I forgot about Phil. Lord.
That shit, like, that's dangerous.
No, tell me something about Queen Afua though. Who is that? You said she's the queen mother. Who is
Queen
she?
Afua
Queen
Afua? Yeah, oh, big time. Queen Afua started off in the herbal community, selling herbs, and today she claims, just like Sebi, that she can cure any disease.
Yeah, she's one of them. Yeah, she pushed that shit.
Yeah, she wrote what's that book she wrote? Said
I don't know her work like that.
Sacred Woman or something. Sacred Woman. Yeah, this is a serious pseudoscience book. She believes in kundalinis and chakras and everything.
Push the our folk. That's why we got all these crystal chakra shouties running around right now, bro. Why you think we got all these horoscope crystal chakras running around, bro?
That came from her.
Queen Afua is Erykah Badu's spiritual teacher.
Really?
And Erykah Badu crazy as hell.
Badu put that shit out there like that. What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is her son a blood?
Which son?
She got a son named. Her son named. Hold on. You said Erykah Badu. I think I know the lady you talk about. What's this dude?
I think
Super
Madness or something like that.
What's his name?
I think I do remember something like that. I could be mistaken.
Because you said Erykah Badu. So if this is Erykah Badu, I saw a documentary on her. Her son is like a super. Fuck is his name?
You talking about Erykah Badu's son or Queen Afua?
No. Queen Afua. Queen Afua got a.
I think she
she's a black lady. She dresses like in
all the African garb. Yeah.
Yeah, her son is
Supernova
Sloan.
That's her son, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know Queen Afua. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know her. She
was
in the Erykah Badu. She was in the
club. She done been on syndicated.
She was in the Erykah Badu, and he was on the Breakfast. Now I know who you're talking about on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, she was on there with him. Yep.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
okay. I didn't know that's who. I didn't know that was all. What's the name?
Is Bobby Hemmett?
I don't know if y'all want to talk about it, but
where do you put
Snyder's role in all of this?
I enjoy Bobby Hemmett videos, whether it's pseudo or not. He was hilarious, bro.
He was a good comedian. He's the funniest of all of them.
Who
the hell is Buddha?
Him and Ray Nagin.
Let's see what the
I like
chat
Ray Nagin. He was a funny dude too. I never really bought into his shit, but he was funny.
Anathema, I ain't saying that. That'll just cause a war. Shout out to you, Anathema, but I ain't co-signing that shit. I'm trying to stay out of it. They calling Sonetta the pseudo Don King. Soda said.
The thing is, I don't shade Sonetta because he giving like that to everyone. So it's like it's as dangerous as it can be. It's also like he don't really favor nobody.
Hey, Chief X, they saying they first saw you on Sonetta. They said they didn't know who you was before
Definitely.
Yeah, they probably did see me
Sonetta.
somewhere.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. There's not one person outside of I can't really think of nobody that I didn't see on Sonetta. I can't really think of no. I can't.
Probably Umar. Umar was on there, but he was big before.
Oh yeah. No, I knew Umar before. Yes, the whole Sonetta spiel.
Tariq was big before Sonetta too.
Yeah, I knew Hidden Colors. I didn't get inside Sonetta till like maybe when it's out there to hit YouTube, maybe 2015. I don't know. It probably was before that, but that's when I probably seen it. 2016.
Hey, Chief X, they saying Sonetta made you, nigga.
No, these are
they in the chat
anybody saying
Sonetta made you, man.
no, anybody saying this is new to the community, right? So like Sonetta's in New York, so people don't know. People like in the conscious community don't know people in Los Angeles, right? The reason why I got
hold on, Chief X. Who are you talking about? It says I agree, Jolanda. I was trying to see where his pseudo come from. Who are you talking about? It says, and why would he be interested or drawn to the HOK? Who are you talking about, Nathan?
I think he's talking about.
Go ahead,
Talking about Chief X. They talking about Chief X.
Oh, they talking about
Chief X having a debate with one of the Moors or something on Sonetta. That's why I first seen Chief X.
Did he win? I got a question.
I don't know. I don't know about how they winning.
Yeah, I never watched the debate.
Winning system was set up, but that's how I remember it though.
Yeah, but I was huge on Facebook before even going to Sonetta's. I was kind of popular in the RBG community.
How did you end up on Sonetta
though? I jumped on a panel one time. He had a panel. You know, people jump on the panel and start talking.
That's Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
You have to go digital.
Polite whoop Chief's ass.
No, Polite didn't beat me in no debate. I smoked him.
Polite beat your ass? That's cool.
I'm sorry, Chief. You my homie. And Polite was sued on the motherfucker. But you know how Polite likes to do that shit? That pseudo judo.
If someone thought Polite won, that means they was a fan of Polite and they weren't listening.
I ain't no goddamn Polite fan. He's flying the crowd.
He was talking about not Chief X.
This Smalls, bro. This Smalls. I'm just being honest, bro.
Yeah, Smalls. I destroyed anybody. I've even made a video saying I destroyed Polite. Anybody
Your
who really
did.
No, listen. Anybody who listened actually and wasn't caught up with Polite, like people are caught up with Polite. They like to see him perform and talk that shit, and people were attracted to Polite. So he had fans. So his fan base thought he won, but knew I was kicking his ass. So you must have liked Polite at the time.
Hell no, I ain't like that. No, I'm gonna tell you. Information wise,
everybody love Polite, but now that he in jail, don't nobody like.
No, I never fuck with Polite. I'm saying though,
I ain't saying you.
Smalls, let me real quick. Yeah, the debate topic was protein and iron.
Yeah.
Is it better in plant or meat? I killed that shit. Did you know that if you watch this is how delusional people work. So, Polite, we had 3 times to present information. Polite never presented. I presented 3 times. Polite never did. Go back and watch it. So if you thought he won without even negative presentation, that's crazy. That means he was a Polite fan.
No, I definitely wasn't no damn Polite fan.
Okay,
but you know, I'm gonna tell you
presentation up.
I'm gonna tell you. This is what you just named. You named what it is, though, Chief. What'd you say? Polite likes to put on and this, that, and the other. You know, I mean, that's not a part of debate, but that's a part of that conscious community debate shit. I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's how he got you. Information wise, it wasn't even close. You beat the shit out of him.
Well, what's that? Debate is about information. We were trying to prove a point.
But you didn't. It's not all about. I mean,
how
you
far motherfuckers be making it in this shit, bro.
It's about who makes the best argument. That's who wins the debate. Who makes the best argument.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's about who makes the best arguments, bro. He made.
It don't matter. It presents.
Go ahead.
Small.
All right, Chief, you got it.
I realized the conscious community
Uh-huh.
was worthless when I saw that video of that nigga polite with all that forehead sitting on that bench, and he told that dude, I think that was a victim of Dr. York or some shit like that, and he told them when I did that sexual violence video on
He's my
PK,
spiritual father, some shit.
and I saw that video, and he said even if he was to have molested 100 boys, he'd still be my spiritual father, and the conscious community ain't get rid of that nigga for that shit.
Crazy. That's crazy.
On where on planet Earth can you say some shit like that in public and the public want to see you more?
They kept for that nigga till he got locked up.
I mean, his hairline alone. I mean,
He
I don't know how
had
you.
the wild hairline in that video. That
Bro,
shit was crazy. I know
alone,
you
like,
said
you
some
can't.
crazy shit, but his hairline.
You can't listen to a nigga with a fucking that don't. That about the hairline, the eyeline.
When you used to wear that nigga had an eye of fucking
He used to
horse.
wear eyeline. I don't think he had
We
on
talking
the eyeline
about?
in that video. I didn't see that.
And when the nigga in like a
like
old school Bruce Lee karate looking fucking outfit or some shit like that.
And y'all use the thirst for this motherfucker though. That's the wildest shit. Not you. When I say y'all, not y'all, I don't mean y'all in here. I'm just saying, like, listen, the community.
Bro, the nigga got big enough to the Breakfast Club was like, let's interview this guy. What the fuck?
Oh, damn!
You think the Breakfast Club is short? You think they short on motherfuckers that interview? Bro, they interviewed this man, bro. What the fuck?
He was rocking
like,
with
we gotta stop acting like motherfuckers don't take this shit to certain heights. Like that shit can go
far. With Mayweather and Artest.
Yeah. Bro, I used to see that nigga out here, bro, like posted up on Rodeo, same spot every day, just trying to be seen. Like nigga was weird, bro.
Shouts to you, Anathema. Your secret safe with me, G. Shouts to you. But yeah,
all these niggas saying they don't fuck with that nigga, they lying, bro. They peddled that shit to that man was getting tons of views, enough that a nationally syndicated fucking morning show wanted to interview you.
But why they didn't get rid of him though, said? And by the way, whatever
because
show
he brought light to
y'all
the
just
shit. He was
talking.
looking like, oh, this is how far you can take it. You can be around Mayweather. You can ride in fucking Phantoms and shit. He was all finesse. It was bro. Like, look, my granddad told me to look out for slick talking niggas. Anytime I see a nigga talking slick, I already don't fuck with you. You can be the most genuine nigga, but if you talk too slick for me, I don't fuck with you. I'm sorry.
And also Sonetter, Ankh, and Garfield was pumping that nigga up.
And everybody was.
I ain't gonna let you put that slander on. You ain't here.
Well, he's not slandering for real. I
was waiting on you to see some of that good old PK slander, but I don't want nothing to do with y'all shit.
Yeah, because Dr. York, you can ask a lot of black folks from the 90s who used to listen to a lot of rap and shit. Motherfucking Dr. York name used to get dropped, bro. I know a lot of motherfuckers that know that dude name, whether they know any conscious community material at all. They know that nigga name, bro.
Well, yeah, I heard of Dr. York on Dipset.
That's what I'm saying.
They was talking to like a lot of rappers.
All them niggas talking about that shit, bro.
And I didn't realize
act like that shit wasn't in our shit, but it was, bro. Like,
yeah, the nigga Cuban, he showed me like where rappers was talking about him. They were saying Dr. York. I just didn't know until I got here. I didn't know who they were talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like they would say his name in the song, but
I knew back when.
You don't know what the fuck they saying.
I had a cousin that claimed he was a new Wapi, and I don't think he ever really met with those niggas, but he was highly influenced by it. But he was a jail nigga, so he was 5 different things every time I see him. So.
Hey, Chief X, you never met Dr. York?
Nah, I never met that cat. I didn't hear Dr. York until I got on social media.
So you never like been next to him? Like you never, you just heard stories about him and shit?
Yeah.
When I saw his court documents and they said he is the most prolific child predator in history.
Yeah, I seen that too, and I told people.
My nigga, I just seen a video. There's a video going viral right now. There's a video going viral right now of a homeless kid. I ain't even gonna say a man. He's like got to be in his mid-20s. Homeless dude in Atlanta. Somebody's going around just like having homeless people rap and shit, and his shit was kind of good, so it went viral. Before the nigga started rapping, that nigga say free Malachi Z. York. I swear on my life, bro.
Yeah, I
This is
saw
a
that.
20-something-year-old kid. Yeah, exactly. We saw that. That's real
Yeah.
deal, bro. That shit ain't no fucking joke. Y'all think,
What
man?
you call a claim to be an ex-Nuwapian? I don't know if he got too deep into it, but I claim to be a Nuwapian.
Here you go with the Unc
Yes,
shit.
I'm gonna
Is
say
it?
enough
No,
people.
he said he claimed
But
to be a
Unc was
Nuwapian.
truthful about it. He said
Listen.
he
Hold
was in
on,
a
hold
cult
on.
before.
Just so
Uncle
we
say it, I
clear,
was in a cult.
it's not that I'm capping for Unc. It's just when it comes to Unc and the pseudo killers, I try to I don't want to be, because see, all that shit you saying, it'll somehow be blamed
And
on
Chief
me.
ain't saying it with a
It'll
little
be Brad. It'll be see
condescending
that
way.
show that Brass had and shit like that. So just if you gonna say that, just use the
Uncle
source
tell
of
you
something. Don't just
he
slander the
know
nigga
he
for
know
no
how to
reason.
spot these niggas because he was in a cult before. That's what he promotes. Like
See,
he been open about it.
Small. That's Small talking.
We about to go down a rabbit hole. That nigga
No,
ain't never say
Small talking.
he ain't never say he was in the
Smalls, is that
with
you
Dr.
talking? I'm
York.
talking to you.
Yes, he
That
has.
was said Breeze said that.
Nah, Unc has said before that
No, he did, bro. I talked to Unc about
Yes,
this.
he
He said
did.
Yes, he
he
has.
said he
talking
wasn't
about,
in the
Brad?
shit, bro. He said I
I
talked to him about this.
don't think he ever lived on the land, but he said that he was in it
lived
before.
on the land. He never lived on the land. But he
Wouldn't you have to
let
live
me
on the land to be in the cult?
Brass, let me
Nah,
give you the
not
truth.
necessarily.
I
I'm
want
gonna
you
tell
to
you
give
the
me
truth.
the truth, but see, you about to put me in the middle of some bullshit. I don't
No,
want
no,
to
no,
be in the
no.
middle.
I wouldn't. I'm not bad. I haven't even said anything bad. I'm just telling you what I
Okay, go
claim.
ahead. So
Mark has always claimed used to be a Nuwapian. He used to follow me. He didn't live in Atlanta at the time and didn't really live on the compound, but he always claimed that. But he later started backpedaling. So
wait, what?
what you're hearing, Brass, is him backpedaling about it. But before
Nah,
he's
I
always
disagree,
claimed it.
Chief X. I ain't gonna let you do that. He
Don't you
ain't
disagree?
backpedaling. He's saying that he was in it before.
No,
He out of it. Like they happen.
what do you disagree about, Smalls?
It's not Smalls, but anyway, I don't think Unc is doing any type of. I don't think he's doing any type of backpedaling. I think he's just saying like I was in that shit. I saw what it was. I got out of it. Like I don't think it's a.
But you know, so
move.
you saying okay? Let me give some clarity. So I've spoken to Unc about this because I did the video, and people was not him per se, but people was a little disturbed. I put a video of him in there talking about it, but when I talked to him about it, he didn't say he was on the land. He said he went to a couple of lectures, a couple of the what's the names, and he says this in the video. So this ain't like no made up shit. He says that his not his daughter, a girl he was dating at the time. I might be messing that up. Unc, you can give clarity to that. But he said that the reason why he didn't go further with it was because somebody in his life asked him, "Would you leave your child up there?" And he said no, and he said he never went back. So I don't think that's him in a cult or him. To be in a cult, you gotta be indoctrinated.
I mean, he may have said it facetiously, but he has said it like in that phrasing right there. Like I was in a cult before. Like I know what wild shit and shit look like. You know what I mean? He said in kind of that vein, more than like.
Yeah, that's what I said. Said
This
that's
more
exactly what you said.
Yeah, but
I
you
didn't say that.
saying it like he backpedaling as if like,
No, no,
I
no,
would
no,
never.
Hold on. I ain't saying
that's not.
somebody said
Yeah,
my name. I
I
don't
don't
know
think.
who it is.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Zed. What I'm saying is what he said. He said
We
what you
can't
I
said.
can't hear you.
He used to be down with the Nuwapa. He repped that at a certain point.
No.
Then later on,
I wasn't around.
I know that.
I'm not speaking on that. I wasn't around for none of that.
Y'all capping, bro. Now y'all capping.
Later on, he kind of changed his stance. Listen, I've been down with Ankh since the Blog Talk days.
Yeah, he was your master.
Nobody was around.
He was your teacher. Yeah, we saw the video.
No, that's what I'm telling you. I'm not. Listen to what I said. Listen, I would never lie on nobody. If I say something, you can bet on it. So I'm not just making nothing up because me and Ankh got some beef. I'm just stating what he says. He's always used to be down with it. He changed later, is all I'm saying. Said
I gotta hear him.
And started denouncing a little.
Possibly, I don't know his trajectory on it. I'm just telling you based on how long I've been watching, Unc stream and stuff. I can only tell you what I heard him say. I don't know
Right.
about
So I'm,
you.
I'm,
All right.
but so I'm just clarifying for you because I've been around. I've known
But
her for a
wouldn't
long
you
time.
say? But I don't. Well, maybe it's just me putting my qualifier on it. Somebody was calling my name a minute ago. I can't tell.
It was
But
DQ, but he dropped off.
okay, DQ come in there. I couldn't hear him. I just heard brass, and then that was it. But I think in order to be in the cult, you had to have like been in it, not gone to some readings or some shit. I done been to a couple fucking pyramid schemes and saw them shits. I didn't actually
No, I definitely worked for
you know what
one.
I'm saying? I ain't actually sign up the
I worked
money
Yeah,
for one
and
in that
but
all
for
that
bitch.
shit.
example,
I rose up in that motherfucker.
You rose up in the motherfucker.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
this nigga said it's a
I had a
pseudo.
team and everything. Nigga, I swear.
Said it's a pseudo.
I had a
like
team
for
of
instance,
3.
like with me, Brass, for a long time, my flashpoint was the Nation of Islam. I used to go to the mosque every Sunday. I used to sit down. I used to date this chick who was an MGT in the Nation of Islam, and she used to bring me to the mosque, right? And we sit on separate sides. But I never got suited and booted. I never became a registered Muslim where I sat and wore the bow tie. I was just down with the movement and in the mosque. You know what I mean? But I was a skeptical and kind of a loner, so I never joined. You get what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
Right. So you
Yeah.
wasn't in the cult. That's a clear statement.
Right.
I one time when I first moved to LA, like 2012, 2013, and so I had kind of dabbled in like conscious community shit, like fucking with my cousin and shit, but I wasn't hip to this online community yet. So like I knew about all the factions, Israelite, Moors, everything, whatnot. So I'm walking my dogs around this place out here called Lamert Park, and I see a bunch of niggas with these shits on their head. So I'm just like listening. I'm like, oh shit, that sound a lot like the shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll be reading on. So like, I've got a couple of their numbers, kept in touch with. But then like they was trying to like sell me like fake IDs and license plates. I was like, nah, I'm cool. I'm cool, fam. Like I'm good on all this. Like y'all tripping. Like I'm not putting no funny hat on my head. I thought, it was cool. They were talking about law and different things about the law. I thought that was intriguing. But then when I seen it was steeped in Islam and all this shit and sovereign, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool on y'all, bro. But they had me. They was about to sell me the shit. Like it was crazy.
I think Polite beat Ron Artest out of a lot of money. That's where he jumped. That's when he became big. That's when he started having money after he stopped fucking with Ron Artest.
Somebody in Chester, RZA from Wu-Tang, was on Drink Champs talking about ISIS papers. God damn. I ain't see that.
Nah, it ain't damaging though. Nobody else talks about it, just us. That can't be the RZA from the Wu-Tang. He was talking about it or Drink Champs.
Yeah,
man.
That's what I'm saying. You can listen to they lyrics. They know about that type of shit. They talked about Dr. York and all that shit in they raps.
Yeah, they are.
Oh no, I'm not from LA, Anathema. I just live out here. But yeah, I met the mugs at Lamert Park.
Smalls Chief X tried to cut you. Yeah, I'm glad you stood up for yourself. He tried to cut you. He tried to cut you real quick, and you ain't let it happen.
Oh, I was working on a call. I wasn't paying no attention to half that shit he was saying, but he got his ass whooped in that debate. I don't care what nobody said.
How you come back on and say, I don't know what he talking about? You whooped Joe Lewis's ass.
It is what it is. I mean, because debates are all about information. You got to sell that shit. It's about, you know what I'm saying? It's not about
nigga could be completely pseudo in and win a debate. You don't got to be right.
That's what happened.
You definitely don't got to be right.
Yeah, it's about winning the fucking argument. And yeah, he beat the brakes off of Chief X. I'm not going to say it behind your back. I'm going to keep saying it. You want on the information, but then he beat the shit out of you. Polite was good at that shit. He's charismatic. He you know what I mean? Like, the nigga didn't get to the Breakfast Club for no reason.
Breakfast Club got a lot of weird niggas on there too, though.
But this nigga's a nobody though.
Got traction though, like that's making some type of, you know what I'm saying, notoriety within social media. Like you got to be interested enough or getting traction enough to be up there. Because Polite got on that bitch talking about like don't let the doctor hold your baby. When your baby come up, the artificial light and all this weird shit. I'm like, man, what the fuck this nigga talking about, bro? Y'all let this man say this shit on this fucking national fucking syndicated radio. All the bro, he's picking nothing but pseudo shit up there, all pseudo shit, and they let him do it to millions and millions of viewers. Like,
that
bro,
shit was terrible. You ever seen the interview with him and wasn't Artest with him when he did the interview?
Somebody in the chat. I don't remember. I never watched the full video. I just remember the